I want to thank you, the American people, the people in this audience, for standing up and saving your country on Tuesday. You saved the Supreme Court. You saved the Electoral College. You saved us from another 20 million illegal aliens and chain migration, another 150 million people coming into this country. You've saved our economy. You've saved our cops, our police force. You've saved our military. You saved the American Constitution and Declaration of Independence. People seem to forget what was on the line here. Everything was on the line here. We dodged a bullet. President Trump literally dodged a bullet, and we dodged a bullet on Tuesday.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you about these boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 770 cities around the world. We just finished 15 years of broadcast excellence. Now in our 16th year, the Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. The left is no longer the friendly opposition to the right. They have turned on us with lawfare, DOJ raids, FBI arrests, and unlike wild animal hunters, they don't have a permit. They have decided to come after peaceful MAGA Trump supporters, businesses. They've locked us in our homes, away from work, put our children out of school, and made this country into a hellhole. These asses cut off our gas, demanding our vehicles be electric, as well as our delivery trucks, bringing unsustainable costs, especially to the middle class. And just to make sure they can get away with that, they open the borders to all the criminals who want to come here and the countries who want us to have them to the point to where they can take this invasion to the level of conquering us, the greatest country ever. Into a miserable socialist communist hellhole. And just to make sure we don't rebel, they set us up with the 1/6 Reichstag-like scam that the Nazis used in 1933 to conquer a country the Nazis earned only 8% of the vote from. Thanks to God and his finger on the bullet he touched to cause Donald Trump to be ordained and not abolished. We beat you so big, you are blaming each other, about to be kicked out of your sweet government jobs. Sorry, JP. And your evil, lying journalism, backing the destruction of our great country. Never again can we let you do this. The next time will be a bloody civil war, and we will be prepared for it. My suggestion is that you move to Gaza and join Hamas. That's a much better fit for you. Victories often occur when you see no way to succeed, but refuse to give up anyway. Happy Thanksgiving!
The extent of Donald Trump's historic nature, iconic nature, really isn't understood, because we're too close to it. They'll understand it 50 or 100 years from now. He's not a typical politician. He speaks like a regular person, which is why they hate him. He tells you his feelings. He's utterly and completely transparent, in many ways to a fault. But that's who he is. And we, the American people, it turns out we love this man. We want him back in the Oval Office. We want him to lead the country. We have rejected completely, utterly, undeniably, the Democrat Party, the Marxist, jihadist agenda. We have rejected it. We want nothing to do with it. We love this country. They do not. We do not want the fundamental transformation of America. We want America back.
All right, welcome to the show. I'm here with my lovely bride, Lisa Ann Weinbaum, the law. Good morning, darling.
Good morning.
I see you dressed very warm. It's cold out here today.
Yeah, it is really.
Yeah,
But they turned
in
the
the
heat
30s.
on the building, so you have no idea what to expect.
Yeah, that's
So,
true. You never know.
Yeah.
Good for you. And J.P. Maxwell here, who does work for the government.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
We'll see
I
how much longer.
gave you a little jab there. Well, McDonald's is always hiring, so
Yeah.
don't worry
Well,
about that.
keep all options open.
There you go. Keep your
Watch
options
out
open.
for that Musk guy.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah. You don't say anything bad about Elon Musk here for the next and Ramaswamy either, for God's sakes. All right, we got a great show. We got JJ Bradshaw coming on. He's an expert at a lot of things, and especially the Constitution. Don Mayhew, who is a city, he's not a city. He's a government guy with the state of Missouri. He's a representative, and he's a fun guy to talk to. Dr. Amy Cooper Hakim, she is, we have to set this how we feel stuff straight, because she always feels great. Well, it's a 10 for her. I take issue with that, because now we're much better off than we were the last time she said that. That was before the elections. So I got to call her out on that, I guess. But she's a very smart woman. She will find a way to get around that, I'm sure. Elad Hakim, the worst half of that combination, who is a lawyer. Both of them are in Boca Raton, Florida. How do you get a set of a husband and wife to come on your show? It's pretty good. I hope they're not fighting or anything, because we never fight, do we?
No.
No. Listen, I'm telling you, I got to tell you this story. I'm lying in bed when the day before I'm calling people and trying to get them to come on the show. I think it was Monday night, and I'm awoke in the middle of the night, looking at my phone in my bed that said Jeff on it, and I looked for the phone, and it wasn't there. It was on the place where I normally put it, which is, a little place that you store your stuff. And lo and behold, I don't know, it wasn't on my phone. Okay. So I took this as a tip from God. I did, I swear. All right. And I sent him an invite to the show, and 5 seconds later, he's on the phone to me telling me some amazing news that he might have a government job here pretty soon with the Trump administration. But we'll get into that. There's no guarantee for that, obviously. Ask Gaetz about that. So anyhow, we've got Elad, and we got Jeff Zink at the final half hour. So we got a great show.
I think.
Yes.
I think my story about what you were talking about in bed the other night is better.
What was I talking about? I don't even know if I want to go there. But okay, go ahead. Tell them.
You were talking in your sleep.
Yeah.
And I was wide awake. 2:30 a.m.
I kind of remember this though.
And you said, "What's the name of that beer that I like? What's the name of that Mexican beer I like?"
Yeah.
And which is totally weird, because Dave really basically doesn't drink beer.
Right. But I do like
I'm
that.
I answered him. I said, I don't know, honey. Sorry.
I know. I was wondering why I did that.
And then you said, I want one of those with breakfast tomorrow morning.
I said that.
I said, okay. And so he doesn't really remember it, but I got him a beer out the next morning.
I kind of remember
and he
saying
says,
something like that.
He looks at the beer the next morning and says, what's this? I said, well, you asked for it last night in bed.
Oh, well.
Is it Corona you were
Is
talking
anyone
about?
else? Well, I was thinking of Corona. Yeah.
Corona,
but Model too. And
Yeah.
I like that.
All we have was Modelo.
It's weird. I say a lot of crazy things when I get my daughter tears me apart on every Friday after the show and after I work, and she has no mercy on me. So I'm trying to sleep there because I'm wide awake here, wide awake just about all night prepping, and she's and I'm saying stuff that I don't know I'm saying. Like, there's other people in the room and stuff like that, and they say really stupid stuff. Some of it. And she'll repeat it back to me, and I'm saying, there's no way I said that. Anyways, we have our anyways. I mean, we have a great guest coming on. He's been with me for about 17 years now, and I'm trying to figure out how many years I've been doing this now. I think I'm ending my 17th year, going into the 18th year. I think. I'd have to check it out.
I think it's our 15th year going into the 16th year, I believe.
No.
I'd have to go back and check.
That sounds closer.
I think that's
right. All right, we'll talk about this later because we want to talk to this gentleman here. He is 256 years old. He was around for the rebelling of our country against England, and he is a expert at the First Amendment. And he used to pick up women, these pioneer women at these taverns in Virginia. I think there's only one at that time. Please welcome all the way from Rolla, Missouri, John Jeffrey Bradshaw. JJ, how are you?
Dave, I couldn't be better. MAGA won. It doesn't get much better than that.
Oh.
Isn't
that true of everybody? Are we all feeling like we're a country again, and we're on the cusp of some great things happening?
We are on the cusp of it. We're not a company or a country yet because we still have the divisive left who are making plenty of noise.
Yeah,
and Dave, the noises that they're making are just extraordinarily entertaining to me. I like to watch them go up in flames. I like to watch them eat each other like cannibals.
Oh, that's great.
It's a wonderful thing.
They'll take their eyes off of that, and they'll try to destroy us. Right now, Joe Biden sends these massive weapons out to hit Russia, and they're threatening World War III. Germany has enacted 800,000 soldiers. Germany, okay, think about that for a while. And, all of NATO is up in arms.
Biden would meddle with World War III, and I think he's dim enough that he might stumble into it.
I don't think it's Biden. I think it's Obama.
Well, Biden, Obama, they're cut.
Yeah,
from
but I think
the
it's
same
good.
block
I think
of
it's
cheese.
important to know that Obama's still there.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Say, we are in the aftermath of what may have been the most important election in my lifetime. And we're talking about appointments now, cabinet appointments. And you and I talked about Mr. Gaetz,
right?
That he was probably not appointable. Well, Vance drug him around to some senators the other day. Now you've got to have 51 to approve this guy, and we've got only 53. So if you get a couple that bail, he would not be appointed. And I think he saw the handwriting on the wall.
He didn't have the votes.
You and I had talked last week about this guy potentially being a sacrificial lamb. And lo and behold, that prophecy has come true. He bailed out. That Trump had somebody in his back pocket to replace him. He's a smart enough guy, and he's got some pretty good advisors around him. And he has put together Pam Bondi.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'd never heard of Pam Bondi, so I did a little bit of Dave Weinbaum research, and this gal is pretty good.
Oh yeah,
She's been the
top
AG of
notch.
Florida. She's very much anti-crime, very much pro-law and order, and I think she'll be a pretty good pick. What I did in my research, I was looking for dirt on her to see if they could do the same thing they did to Gaetz, and she's pretty squeaky clean.
Yeah.
So this one's likely to pass.
And the first thing she says after she accepts the nomination is that she's going to go after Merrick Garland.
Yeah.
And okay.
That was actually the next thing I was going to talk about, Dave. You and I are on the same channel.
That's terrible.
You know, Garland, and in particular, Alejandro Mayorkas is attempting to negotiate a gentle way out of being the Homeland Security boss because he doesn't want to be prosecuted. And he's trying to negotiate that. And so far, he's gotten a nope, sorry, you did the crime, you're going to do the time sort of answer from our House of Representatives. So this should be extraordinarily entertaining. I can hardly wait to see how this is going to play out.
Well, the tables have turned. Okay, and now talking about us destroying the democracy. Well, we're going to destroy the bureaucracy and stop all these people from spending all of our money and making stupid decisions when they're not even elected to.
Yeah, well, of course, he was taking his cues from Obama and Biden, who said, "Thou shalt." But yeah, this guy had a responsibility and swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States and to the citizens thereof that he would support our laws, and then he turned around and ignored them. I think he should be prosecuted for that. Now we'll see. We'll see what happens. You and I have beat up the mainstream media quite a bit over the last few years because it was clear that they had become the propaganda arm of the Democrat Party and pretty well Marxist. You know, decisions have consequences. And one of the consequences is the Comcast, who owns NBC, is talking about spinning off MSNBC, CNBC, the E Network, and the Golf Channel, and they would like to sell those. Why? Because they're not profitable. Why are they not profitable? Because people have turned on them. MSNBC's viewership is down 38% since the election. 38%.
Yeah,
somebody pulled the plug on that thing. But
you got don't forget the Scarboroughs, Joe and Mika, going down to Mar-a-Lago, I guess to kiss the ring or the feet of Donald and the rest of the staff.
I suspect Donald had his pants at his knees when the kissing started.
This is after calling him Hitler.
Yeah, which shows you the ethics of these people. There are none. Another interesting thing, CNN, of course, their viewership is way down.
Yeah,
and I doubt that they are going to declare bankruptcy, but I think they're going to have to do some reorganization. The one that got me the most, and I have not been able to verify this from a second source yet. I looked, couldn't find it. ABC's The View. You and I don't watch The View because it is disgusting.
It's not watchable. I mean, it's hard.
It's a rag, no question. But apparently some of the folks in The View are concerned about their jobs because their ratings have fallen into the toilet. Apparently only the true believers in the Democrat Party would watch this insanity. I have managed to watch it a minute or two at a time and then turned it off and said, I'm going to lower my IQ if I keep watching this junk.
Wait, do you know who used to go on The View?
Well, Donald Trump's been on The View way back when.
He used to be friendly with the Scarboroughs and things like that. And
that's back when they thought he was a pretty good guy.
Why would they suddenly ban him? I don't understand what they were trying to get at with doing it. He was a liberal. He was a Democrat, for God's sakes. So was Ronald Reagan. He was a Democrat. And
when he got conservative, they bailed on
government with he runs for president. Even Oprah at one point 40 years ago wanted to be his vice president if he ran.
Was his friend, yeah.
Yeah, she was very friendly.
It's funny how these things turn. And that wind in Washington, D.C. blows pretty hard, and the direction changes daily.
Blow hard is a good word for it. Yes, a lot of blowhards.
Yeah. Another interesting thing, Pete Hegseth, who is in for the top dog of DOD, mentioned the other day, and I did see this verified by two sources, that he is going to do top-down changes in DOD. There's a whole bunch of folks, civilian and military, who are going to get their walking papers. And it's basically, it comes down to this: anybody that was a proponent of DEI or the other garbage that the left has been pushing will find themselves out of a job. And he did mention in one of those interviews that he intends to promote from within. So the folks that are a one-star general might become a two-star. He didn't say it, but I believe that he's going to thoroughly vet these people, and only
they're more, as they were saying, they're more worried about DEI and wokeness than they are about what the job of the military is, which is what?
Well, the job of the military is to kill people and break things, and they're not doing that very well. If you look at recruitment, now the Coast Guard published recruitment numbers about 3 weeks ago, and they are way down. And some of the folks that were asked about that said, I don't want to go into a bunch of queer military, not a chance in the world.
Right.
I want to fight. I want to do drug interdiction. I want to do all these things.
Sure.
And instead, I'm having these suppositories shoved in places that shouldn't be. I'm not going to sign up for that. And I think he's going to fix that stuff if he manages to get the nod from the Senate. Advise and consent,
but
of course.
It's going to be a fight because they're looking at his arms. Oh, he has tattoos.
Yes,
big deal. Who cares?
Man's a patriot.
He's
at least he doesn't have.
And he's a smart guy.
I
think he graduated from Harvard, got a master's degree. I'm not sure exactly if that's true, but this is what I heard, that the guy is very well educated. He's very well spoken, obviously, and everybody knows him. He's a great guy on Fox. They all love him there.
Yeah,
and he's a good guy. He's an Army guy, or was he Army or Navy? I don't even know. But he was a great soldier and an all-American kid.
So, what are they going to use to try to lambaste him in the Senate? I don't know.
I don't know.
Don't know. I guess we're going to watch and see, aren't we?
Because they're going to claim he's a racist with the DEI. They're going to claim he's anti-black. That's what they'll do.
They claim.
You know it, and I know it.
By the Democrats' definition, Dave, you and I and Lisa and JP and Pastor Pat are all urban terrorists. By their definition.
Yeah, we're MAGA people. Imagine that. Make America great again. Think about that. We are evil because we say, make America great again. Let me say it one more time. Make America great again. Okay?
We are patriots,
come get me.
Dave. And I think this country needs more patriots. If you look at what the Democrats have done over decades, they've attempted to divide us by sex, by race, by anything that they can do to drive a wedge in between us as to foment chaos. And they've managed to do that pretty successfully. Take a look at Baltimore during the Black Lives Matter riots. I would say that we were pretty well divided at that point. Will Trump be a uniter? I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure that we can reunite with Marxists. I don't think so. I think
I don't think so either. They're either going to have to change, and hopefully some of them are going to leave the country as they are. Apparently,
Ellen DeGeneres.
Ellen DeGeneres, she's gone already. She went to
yay.
So Cat Turd, you ever hear of him? He's on Twitter. Okay, he's on X. He puts a picture of Ellen DeGeneres on, and he says he called her. I think he called her Matt Gaetz has moved to England. Okay.
Actually, at my house,
No, it was another guy. What's the guy's name? He used to be a blonde-haired actor. Do you remember this? Somebody tell us.
Oh, Eminem, maybe?
No. No, it was a guy. I can't remember his name. Keep going. We'll figure it out. Somebody tell me. Somebody out there knows, and we're getting a lot of messages right now. So tell me that one, will you?
At my house, Ellen DeGeneres was always known as Ellen Degenerate. And because of her sexuality and because of her outspoken anti-Trump, anti-patriot, anti-everything that I believe in, obviously we didn't watch her show. It got turned off as soon as it blinked on there. I came prepared to talk about Ms. Harris's failures. This is the person that the Democrats would have as the commander-in-chief of our country. Let's take a look at the things she didn't do too well. There were 4 that Biden tasked her with over a 4-year period. Border czar, obviously, didn't go to the border for 2 frickin' years, and then only to have a little quickie soundbite there to prove that she'd been there.
Yeah. And that was recently.
Border czarina fail. Absolute fail.
That was intentional.
Remember the broadband for everyone debacle. I live out in the country, and we've been promised broadband internet for decades now. And of course, nothing has happened. In 2021, she was handed the job of putting broadband to every corner of this country in the not well served. Someplace between $42 and $45 billion was spent. And got to tell you, Dave, I don't have broadband for everybody, and I don't know that they have run a single cable for broadband.
Yeah.
So Kamala.
Well, that's where Elon Musk comes in.
Yeah. We're hooked up.
He got North Carolina on his, I don't know what he calls his Starlight. Yeah.
Starlink.
And, I think he's going to conquer the world with that too.
Yeah, we are on Starlink, but it certainly wasn't as a result of any government entity coming and saying, hey, JJ, you want broadband? Let's talk about another fail. She was tasked with building bridges with our allies. She was tasked with greasing the wheels of NATO and those in the UN who are pro-United States. She did nothing. A couple of phone calls. Kamala, fail. And the worst one, this is the one that is the most egregious. If you recall, the Green New Deal proponents wanted to have clean school buses for all our children. Electric school buses.
Right.
Well, Dave, a normal size diesel school bus costs about $100,000. Yeah, and they last 20, 22 years unless you run the wheels off of them. A clean school bus, electric now, mind you, costs almost $400,000. Almost $400K.
Yeah.
And they have a limited range. In the wintertime, they use electric heat to keep the kids from freezing, so the battery life is quite low.
Yeah.
$965 million vanished from the Treasury of the United States, ostensibly to replace diesel school buses.
And how many have been replaced?
60.
So
a total of 60. And some of the school districts looked into it and said, no, thank you. We can't afford this debacle.
That's on our trucking situation with these diesels turning into electric vehicles. They add tons to the weight of these things, and they have very, very short mileage. That's costing everybody because it's inflationary.
And so many of these are plugged into an electric grid that is fueled by coal.
Yeah,
come on, guys. Ms. Harris, your failures are going to be noted in the history books. as possibly one of the least effective politicians ever plugged into a spot. May God have mercy on you, because I certainly do not.
I used that once. Thanks.
Well, it's only fair, Dave.
You remember me saying that? Yeah.
Let's talk about FEMA for a minute.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be up against the clock here quickly, but North Carolina, the city of Hickory, which is not large, has a whole bunch of FEMA trailers parked at it, which were staged there, supposedly to give housing to folks who suffered serious losses as a result of the hurricane and the flooding. I was reading some notes yesterday about folks who actually are there and can't get those trailers because FEMA paperwork is monumental, telephone book size paperwork to get a FEMA trailer. Hey, this is an emergency management agency. How about we give the trailers to the people that need them and chase the paperwork later? Does that sound like that might be a good idea, federal government who does things badly?
Of course not.
It just boggles the mind.
Yeah.
And folks that are being given trailers there are being given to them by private entities, churches, individuals.
Let's stay on FEMA for a minute or so. It's true. They have admitted that they passed over Trump signed signs of Trump for president houses, to get to other people. In other words, they ignored everybody because of politics. How illegal must that be?
That's
and how evil must that be?
That is ridiculously evil. And that's discrimination in the worst sort of way, don't you think? If they said, well, we're not going to give these to any people who are black in color, wouldn't the left just raise hell over that?
Same thing as exactly.
So this is our federal government.
This election, we still do not know or feel yet the massive destruction we have caused the left because of what they did. And they're all culpable. They're not stupid. Some of them might believe the BS, but they were sent out to attack us. They were part of a cartel of not only Mexico, which they are, but also the Democratic Party and the evilness of that, to where now the Democratic Party has become against Jews and Christians.
Yes.
How about that?
Patriots. Let's not forget the Patriots, Dave.
Sure.
They are very much against those of us who actually believe in the Constitution, who actually believe in Jesus Christ. They're after us, and they've done it badly. If you look at our federal government, it has been so terribly mismanaged by these people. Absolutely terribly. Is Trump going to clean that up? Oh, my goodness, yes. I think we ought to put a guillotine out in Washington, D.C. and start removing heads. I'd be fine with that.
Well, he's had a great start, and I think he's going to get most of the people there signed and voted in by Congress. We do have a pretty good majority, and the guy in the last race, McCormick, what was his Casey? Yeah, he finally begged out after ridiculous comments made by the head of the election bureau there. Said that, well, we don't have to take cards that have no ID. We'll take them if we want to. Everybody does it. What a dope! And she still has a job, I think.
Yeah, he still has a job, maybe for a while.
They got this guy named Scott Presley, I think his name is. Pressler. And he's a gay Republican. I don't know why I said it, because, well, he says he's a gay Republican, and he went and he mastered the PA election to the extent that he alone probably should get the credit for Donald Trump winning altogether, because what he did in PA, he stopped him cold.
And that should have happened all over the country.
Well,
did not, but that's all right. It was still a landslide victory.
Donald Trump would have been elected again, because it's exactly what they did, even worse, during the 2016 election, because they figured out a way to use the pandemic as a weapon
to cheat. Of course.
Yeah.
I look forward. This is going to be so entertaining, Dave. Yeah. I look forward to Trump's beheading some of these folks, figuratively, of course.
Yes,
and
of course.
I think so far his picks for cabinet have been pretty astute, pretty much true believers.
Yeah.
Dave, it has been my pleasure. I will talk with you again next Friday.
The pleasure is mine, and you know that. All right.
I thank you so much.
Thank you, old friend. I appreciate you, and hi to your lovely bride. Have a great weekend. All right, JJ Bradshaw. I hear somebody clinking around out there. I don't know who it is, but let's do commercials, and he can get in and get himself, fixed up and stuff. He needs a lot of fixing up, this guy. All right, let's go to my. Hey, if you want to get on the show here, this show is starting to explode. All right, my numbers are way up. All right, so give me a call after the show. 573-578-2700, and let's talk. It'll be really good deal. All right, hit it.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have. Gotta reach 'em, see it right now. Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
All right, I'm going to introduce my next guest after a comment from J.P. Maxwell.
So everybody can see it on the screen. Richard Lockwood. What's the difference between UFOs and honest politicians? UFOs actually exist.
And Richard Lockwood is a very good guest on this show as well, and he is the space alien guy and time travel guy. Thoroughly believes in it, and he's got me believing in it. And a lot of people on my show believing in it. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. My next guest is he's a chicken farmer, but he's also in state state representative. He treats the chickens like family until he gets hungry. As I said, slightly funny. Please welcome all the way from Crocker.
Yeah, Crocker,
Missouri.
Crocker, Missouri. Yeah.
Don Mayhew.
Yeah.
And he's also brought his friend. I don't know what it is. It's just, I guess he needs help walking around or something. Or Josh Vroman, who used to work for me. Give him a little applause. Come on.
Hey. Well, you forgot that Josh is also city councilman here in Rolla.
Okay, I'm sorry. City councilman too. I don't know. I was supposed to bring this up. It'll be nice for you to tell me you're going to have people with you so I can prepare that. You see?
That was my fault. I just showed up. I expected to sit out there.
It's a drive-by, yeah. City Hall's a block from here. So anybody can drop in.
Yeah.
Come on. Just bring money.
So thanks for the coveted A slot.
I kicked my wife out for you.
Yeah, I know. And I've also got Lisa's
You know what
chair,
I'm going to get later, don't you?
What?
I'm going to get ice looks, and I'm going to get the whip.
Well,
all right. Thanks so much.
Yeah, but it's obvious, Dave. I've known you for as long as I have that the whip has actually been used on you quite a bit.
Yeah, but I like it. Yeah. See, kind of tickles, So anybody who cheats on the election is going to jail. That's Donald J. Trump saying that. What are your thoughts?
Well,
that's about everybody, it seems.
Yeah, unfortunately, what we found is that a lot of people can cheat and nobody goes to jail, and it's because we've got a lot of laws that unfortunately are unenforceable. Because the truth of the matter is that in order to prove there's voter fraud, you got to go looking for it, right? When the election is over, then nobody's going to go looking for it.
Yeah.
The loser has zero power to do anything about it, right?
So you got to do it right there, right on the spot.
You got to prevent the fraud.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
You have to do that in advance. And so, some of the things that have been done, the ballot drop boxes and the ballot harvesting and things like that, and then those out there who would fight picture ID for voting, I can't even imagine how you can justify that one. On something as important as an election, and because the reality is that all of those things I just mentioned are what opens the door for fraud, and I think any reasonable person would agree with me on that.
Well, Kamala won all the states where there was
JP had to go to the wide angle camera because I'm sitting in Lisa's spot. So I'm sorry.
Okay?
Didn't mean to interrupt you there.
I
was just
of course
pointing
you did.
out the,
of course you did.
The change in the camera.
You're a politician. I get it. But Kamala won all the states that had no IDs and or some that had IDs but no picture IDs.
Right.
Okay, so she won all those states.
Right.
What does that say?
Well, it says a lot. But even if we went back to the last election, and no matter where you're at on that one, we do know some things about that election in 2020. For instance, Pennsylvania wasn't even following their own law.
Exactly.
They had a law,
Supreme Court decision.
Yeah. Plus extending voting out, for a week afterwards.
Oh, and they stopped. Yeah. They stopped a lot of the crowd that was there. And closed it down because they said something was wrong and or we're too busy right now. Come back later.
Yeah.
Well, these people already been standing in line for hours, and most of them were Republicans.
Well, and it doesn't even matter if they were Republicans or Democrats.
Right.
But if you allowed voting a week,
but if they knew those were Democrats, would they have done that?
I don't know, but it kind of depends on the precinct, right? But truthfully, all of the laws that we had in place were about preventing voter fraud, right? Yeah. And there was a good reason for them. Those laws have been vetted for several years. It didn't disenfranchise anybody. Like our picture ID here in Missouri, we were told that, well, that's going to disenfranchise people. Well, so you don't have a driver's license, you don't have a picture ID of any kind, but if you go sign up for Medicaid, get an airline ticket or anything like that, you have to have all of those things.
That's right.
So who was being disenfranchised? Well, we can't find anybody. And in order to prevent anything like that from happening, our Secretary of State said, I'll get a van. I will come to you wherever you're at. You don't drive. I will come to you and provide you with a free picture ID.
Let me slam you this. Let me slam you this.
Right, here we go.
The Supreme Court has ruled that your First Amendment right includes your vote. Okay. Supreme Court has ruled on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And therefore, it needs to be enforced. That thing needs to be expanded to where, what do you mean by you get to vote?
Mm-hmm.
And you get to vote where it's counted.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you got to have this specified in an amendment or something in the Supreme Court to make sure that everybody knows that it's a crime to let somebody vote without proper identification.
So if that is the case, and I can see the logic there for sure, because
it's a First Amendment right.
Yeah, but and there is the redress portion of the First Amendment too. You have the right to redress your government on, and so Congress shall make no law, right? And so the First Amendment to the First Amendment aspect of that is that, first of all, that is a fundamental, right? That is number one for a reason.
Yeah.
And the idea that people wouldn't exercise that right, the voting for sure, was foreign to our founders. We.
Well, sure.
That was because that was the First Amendment that proved how important that particular thing was.
Our founders also had a problem with slavery, as you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they also were telling the slaves they were only worth, what, 3/5 of a citizen?
Okay, so there was probably a little bit of an issue with how U.S. Congress people are selected, right? Is because even back then it was based on the census, and so the census included the slaves. And so what the real thing behind the 3/5 was to reduce the power of the slaveholding South. That's, honest historians out there will say that.
Okay.
It wasn't about whether or not that person was 3/5 of a person.
Yeah.
It was about reducing that power in order to be able to address
Did
things
slaves have the right to vote?
And no, they did not.
Okay, well,
neither did women. And so,
okay, I understand that, and that's been rectified. All right?
Yes, it has.
Of course,
for both.
It's never going to be rectified in the minds of many blacks. Never.
But
okay, and even women are going to be resentful of them not having the vote forever. But that's, it's been fixed, and now people are beginning to understand that particular thing, and there's no reason to have cheating in voting.
No,
none. It needs to be enforced.
Yes, certainly.
And it needs to be enforced, possibly with Supreme Court and a Supreme Court emergency legislation, that when this is reported, it is immediately attended to.
All
right.
Well, you got
President Trump, Supreme Court, I'm right here. Okay.
Well, I would argue that even after the election is over, it's important to go find out where the holes are. And what had happened over the years, and especially in the last few years, was that there were forces out there who were wanting to create holes in the system in order to exploit those holes for the wrong reason.
There's always like that. Yeah.
Now the vote, an illegal vote, should make every person mad who voted legally. Now, no matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or a Green Party or whoever, if I voted illegally if I voted legally and then some organization voted 100,000 votes illegally, and that's not an extreme exaggeration, by the way.
Yeah.
Then how does that constitutional thing you're talking about, how did that protect me? It's incumbent on the government, as I think you're trying to point out, to make sure that doesn't happen. No different than protecting our borders.
It doesn't have language that needs that. All right, now you're talking. You can have your local government. That's fine, but you have to have, when you got the first. We're talking Constitution here. We're talking about the right to vote,
right?
And because you had 100,000 people offset your vote and many others, your constitutional rights were violated, and that needs to be spoken to by the Supreme Court, and they need to have an amendment in this country that makes it plausible that you can get an immediate hearing based on what's going on right then.
Well, as you've probably heard this a few times, that I have to have standing. I have to have standing. That's the reason why Texas couldn't sue New York over that issue. But my government should be concerned about that amendment to the Constitution. But it doesn't prevent, the First Amendment wouldn't prevent the government from passing laws and things like that, statutes and even regulations,
right,
which guarantee that right is protected. That one man, one vote.
Well, that's why I say it has to be immediate, and it has to be from the Supreme Court.
Certainly,
they are supreme.
Yeah.
And you have to follow that. Mm-hmm. So if there's something comes up in PA, when they say that, they automatically should go in there and say, "Nah, you can't do that."
Except at a couple other decisions.
Now you want to come get yourself out of the union. You're going to have to do that. But right now, you can't do that. You can't take away the rights of people to vote. It's a First Amendment right.
But what in the case of Pennsylvania violating their own constitution, which they did, and violating several of the statutes in order to accommodate the COVID thing or whatever. Obviously, COVID's not in the Constitution, not even the Pennsylvania Constitution.
That's right. Neither is abortion.
But right, the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, has come out and said that elections are state things. Right, that's the federal government doesn't have anything to do with your election unless it violates one of the provisions in the Constitution, including what we commonly refer to as the Bill of Rights. So
I'm not sure I understand that.
That the voting is up to the states to devise whatever system that they want.
Elections are state things. It's if you have somebody running for president, how is it not federal? How is it not federal for senators to run?
So you're Hamilton, not Jefferson. So
whatever.
So a strong central government is pretty obvious to us now that perhaps Jefferson and a few of the others, Madison, were correct. That this is a United States. These are 50 sovereign states, and that was the idea behind the elections are up to the states. Now, keep in mind also they had devised a system where U.S. senators were chosen by the legislature, and then there was a constitutional amendment that made them popularly elected. Well, we already had the popularly elected body. That was the House of Representatives, and the people had the opportunity to respond to their legislator every 2 years, right? Sure. So that kept at least 1/3 of the government in check by the people. However, the senators were supposed to be the more deliberative body, and that it takes 60, which is just a rule with them, takes 60 votes in order to pass anything. We know all these things, right? But that their purpose was the interest of the state. The state of Missouri.
Right.
So that's the reason why there's 2 senators from every state. And so why is that important? Well, because that is the checks and balances on a system. We already know we don't live in a democracy. We live in a republic, which is representative form of government, because we know what a democracy really is. That's where 51% make 49% pay for everything. And unfortunately, we see a lot of politicians, national politicians, that should know the Constitution as well as the average citizen, and they can't quite get that concept. Well, because of a lot of different reasons. In that, what was it Tocqueville said? He said, "America will survive as a democratic republic until her politicians learn how to buy your vote with your money."
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the situation we're in, which was kind of the thinking, if you'll remember, back when Wilson was involved in that.
Sure. I'm sure I was a little kid.
Yeah. Well, no, you went to high school with Wilson, didn't you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
He didn't like us. So he didn't like Jewish people.
He didn't. Oh, wow.
Didn't like black people either, for that matter.
Well, I wouldn't know. I didn't know him like you knew him.
Well, I kind of knew him.
Yeah.
Stayed away from him. So that's all well and good.
Yeah.
Now you've got a situation where we've got a border invasion.
Yeah.
Based on a crooked government based on the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
One party has decided that they're not going to overwhelm the system, and they're going to create different needs for Congress, not necessarily the Senate, but they're going to overram these states with Congress, and maintain total control of that. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, that's
so they have now blocked what you just said with the capture of Congress if this thing is left as it is.
Yeah. No, that's it. Which was the purpose. I said this all the time. Is that this has nothing to do with getting these people to vote. Shoot, if the Democrats wanted them to vote, they'll just vote for them, right? So this is about congressional seats.
Yes.
And so once you capture enough congressional seats, by stacking, piles of these people, that
it's a huge advantage. Huge.
Because they know they have an advantage, and it's called YouTube videos and things like that. So when Donald Trump and companies start deporting these folks, of course, that's going to cover your news, right? There'll be viral videos, and there'll be all of this stuff about.
Now be careful. I'm on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's my point exactly, right?
Sure, they can take me out.
You can find any stuff on YouTube, even stuff that's crazy as this, right?
Easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of nut jobs out there for sure, but in any case, that's going to cover the 6:00 evening news. That'll be 30 minutes of deportations, et cetera. And they'll show you pictures that will be staged of, little babies being jerked out of mommy's arms and all of this kind of stuff. And then they'll use Trump in every other sentence. And that's exactly the way this thing's going to go. We've seen this movie
maybe it will and maybe it won't, because you've got children who are, you got hundreds of thousands of children out there. Yeah. Who they didn't trace them. Mm-hmm. They don't know where they are.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have the drugs, the fentanyl going out, which mostly young kids are taking, thinking it's something else.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're just taking it and they die from it.
I wish people could have took a trip with me to the border here about a month ago.
Yeah. Which border?
The southern border.
Okay.
But it truly was an eye opener, and of course, it's a lot of stuff that we suspicion is going on. But until you see it for yourself with your own eyes and talk to the people involved, it is mind blowing. What is going on our southern border, and I'll just relate one story, and this it actually makes me physically sick every time I think about it, but. As it turns out, the policy was with the Biden administration. It continues on to this day and will until the 21st.
No, he's going to enhance it now. They're marching through Mexico right now.
Well,
so bring them all in.
So
Joe Biden.
If you are a single male, then when you come across the border, you're held in detention for 2 weeks while they run your fingerprints and all that stuff, useless stuff. But you're held there for 2 weeks. But if you are a family, you get processed and turned loose immediately. Well, you know what it takes to be considered a family? If you have a minor child with you.
Yeah.
So these people.
And it doesn't matter whether it's yours or somebody else's.
Well, and
usually it is somebody else's.
And that's exactly what is going on. Well, so these guys, because they don't want to be encumbered by some little 5 or 6 year old kid.
Yeah.
As soon as they get out.
Sell them.
Well, most of the times they don't, but I mean, yes, that happens too.
Put them to work.
But as soon as they get out of sight of the Border Patrol, they kick this poor kid to the curb and they're left to wander the desert on their own. And so there was a group called the Texas Border Volunteers who related several stories to us. But they find these people dead and alive out in the desert all the time the
kids dead and
alive. And so they related this story about this 9-year-old boy. That they found out there. He'd been out there for 3 days, no food, no water.
Wow.
And how he survived, they don't know, but he was in bad shape. So they took him back and, got him food and water and everything and turned him over to ICE. And the kid, talking through translators, they said, well, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to go home. And they said, well, do you know where you're from? And he told them exactly where he was from. I don't remember the country, but it was not Mexico. It was Guatemala or Honduras, one of those. And so the border patrolman who was confirming this story because he was involved, they told ICE that, hey, so this kid wants to go home. He knows where he lives and all of these other things, because a lot of them don't. I mean, I don't know their address because they're really small. But this was a kid who knew enough, and they said, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to go home. And so you know what we did instead? according to these folks, now I can't confirm this, but it was coming from people who should know.
Yeah.
They put him on the list of unaccompanied minors. And essentially the way that deal works is anybody can come by and say,
that's my kid.
That one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. I'm their sponsor. And ICE turns them over to them. So that's what happened to this 9-year-old boy. He was turned over to someone he had no idea who they were. It was not connected to him in any way. And so now what's happened to that kid? Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
Now,
and multiply that by hundreds, maybe thousands.
So these humanitarian organizations who are involved in this, that's about as unhumanitarian as you can get. So I have absolutely zero respect for those folks down there, because that, how many times does that story happen? Every single day.
Yeah. So it's thousands and thousands of these kids treated like that. I remember when AOC, when Trump was running the government, went over and was just crying over these in a cage in by the border, and all these kids that were there was nobody in there.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Well, so funny you should mention that, because we visited one of these NGOs down there, and I don't remember the number. They invited us to see all the great things that they're doing. And there was, I don't know, I'll throw a number out there. There was 200, let's say, people in this holding pen. Now I call it a holding pen. It was a holding area.
Yeah.
It was a glassed in room, no locks on the doors or anything like that. It was just a place where these people were waiting to get processed. And, so we took a quick walk through there, and I'm going to give really rough numbers, but there was out of those 200 or so, maybe more than that, people, 25% of them were from, I would call them sub-Saharan or Africa. Another 25% were obviously Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
25% were, or maybe in that 25% category, were Hispanic.
Yeah.
But another 15% were Asian. I'm going to say Chinese, but I would, no way of knowing, right? Didn't check passports or anything. But only about 10% of those were what I would call families, right? It was a couple of young children, and obviously with their mom and their dad, they were grouped together, and they obviously knew each other, and it was obvious that the parents were protecting the children. So out of all of those people who were processed on that one day, only 10% of them would be even people you would say, hey, that's a family just looking to improve their station in life. The rest of them were military-age males from a lot of different places besides from what we would call traditional Latin American countries.
Now you mentioned that they're just going to say the opposite of what Trump is doing.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to remember, Trump got elected partially because of this.
Most certainly.
All right. So he's going to have some backing, even amongst Latinos and blacks and others who are afraid of this, who understand it. And so there's, the weight of this has kind of shifted to where the advantages are. Now we got to be careful about what we're going to do. But this Tom Homan guy, now as the czar of the border.
And he'll actually take responsibility.
He will take responsibility. And we got to take care of this idiot Mayorkas up there who's trying to weasel his way out of this because he knows he might be going to jail pretty soon.
No, he needs to be prosecuted.
He needs to be prosecuted.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And whoever else did that kind of stuff.
So I think a lot of that thinking is gentleman I met down in the Springfield area who was a naturalized citizen. He did things the right way. He actually came from Mexico and became a naturalized citizen. And this is a few years back, but it was the same argument. It's the same one we hear every year on the immigration. We've got to fix immigration. Well, there's really nothing wrong with our law. It's a problem with our bureaucracies, but that's probably another story. So I was talking with him, and he owned a landscape company. And I said, well, so what do you think about immigration? Are you okay with these people coming here? He goes, absolutely not. They can do exactly what I did. He said, when I came up here, I had to read and write the English language, had to be self-supporting and all those things. And he said, I built
it took a while.
I raised myself up by my bootstraps. I started this company. And he said, now I've got the American story, right?
Yeah.
He is the classic American story. And he goes, I want to tell you something, Don. He said, they're not coming up here to take engineering jobs.
Right.
They're coming up here to take my job.
Exactly.
And they don't want to go through the process that I went through.
And so they will take less money.
Exactly.
And make it more feasible for whoever wants to hire them. They'll get rid of the guy who's costing them more money, who's an American, for those people.
And that's what he said. He said, how's that fair to me? I followed the law.
Exactly.
I did what I was supposed to. I became, I love the idea of America. And I wanted to be a part of this country and contribute to it. Well, and so here he is, now he is the one, he and his company and his employees are suffering because like you said, that his competitor can go hire a half a dozen of the illegals and pay them substandard wages and put him out of business.
So what's your advice to Donald Trump in terms of him going forward, knowing full well that Democrats are going to take the other side of this and try to say that how horrible this is, that you're preventing these people coming over who just want a better life? Right. I think Trump will be handling this in a different way than others would be. Instead of feeling guilty, you just tell them this: no country, as he's been saying, you can't have a country without a border.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, you can't have a state without a border either.
And, we got here, don't we? We have people here.
So absolutely, this session.
I thought they were in Crocker. in fact, one of them looked like you.
Unless some of my chickens are here illegally, and I'm not aware of that.
Is that what you call them, chickens?
So right here in Missouri, there's a saying out there, every state's a border state. It truly is, because it puts stress on all of our system, our education system, and our welfare system specifically. But so here in Missouri, we are going to be passing legislation this session to help out the administration with some of their issues there, because the states definitely have to be involved in this.
Sure.
We already seen the one story about Trump telling those folks who claim they're going to create a sanctuary state.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, let's
or
see.
They're going to enforce what is a sanctuary state, and not let them take the illegals out of there.
So we know what the solution to every problem is.
What's that?
It's money. And taking away money is the solution to bad behavior, because they do that with us all the time. Yeah. If you don't do this, you don't get your money, right?
Yeah.
That's the federal government. So that we can use that same power on those states. It's like, okay, you guys were all about the federal law, right? Yeah. You wanted the federal government to usurp the authority of the states on the border, on our southern border, et cetera. Yeah. So now this is the federal law, and now you will follow it, or you. And so
Chicago comes to mind.
And so you can support those.
Boston also comes to mind now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they just had some either murders or big problems, knifings in Massachusetts, where Boston is. And so this governor or mayor of Boston is still holding on to that, saying, no, we're going to protect the migrants and we're going to do our best to protect all of our citizens. Well, guess what? They're getting killed.
Because he knows his power. Yeah. His power is directly connected to how many illegal aliens.
It's actually a woman, but
or whatever. But I say to those states, hey, everybody's a sovereign state. California, you don't want a federal law, you don't get the federal money, and you can support them. Try to figure that one out. And when they quadruple the taxes on the remaining Silicon Valley companies are too woke to leave that state, well, then even they will make an economic decision and decide to leave. And then they can leave their employees behind. You're welcome to come to Missouri, by the way, these companies, as long as you leave half your staff.
Now, at the risk of being not rude to my guests, Josh.
Guest.
Did I get it over? I'm sorry. Josh, do you have anything to say, sir?
Don, real quick.
Don't forget who signed your paycheck.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Quit. When you're in here, you have immunity. You have immunity, all right?
You just made a blanket statement to allow these companies from Silicon Valley to come. Do we really want their ideologies in Missouri?
Well, that's what I said. I said you're probably going to have to leave half your staff there. They wouldn't come anyway. Let's face it. As soon as they got to look at the electoral map, they would make sure that they didn't
let them
show up
stay.
here.
Let them stay. I don't care if they come or not, but let them keep them away from me.
Hey, let's give them the opportunity to find out what freedom is.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, this is. I can't imagine still living in Chicago. I can't imagine it. I've got relatives there, and they were most of them were all Biden lovers, I got cousins that have double PhDs in certain things, and they're the worst, quite frankly. Right. And they thought they knew everything, and now their bubble, and they're Jewish, and now their bubble is just a little bit burst. When I call them now, before it was mockery over me because I don't have a double PhD. I don't have a single PhD.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, no, I don't.
Yeah, I accuse you of being, what PhD stands for, right? Piled high and deep.
Know, there you go. I knew that was coming. How do you know about funny, you bastard?
Well, you know what an expert is, don't you? Hey, an expert is somebody who knows more and more about less and less until they know everything about nothing. So
that's very good.
Yeah.
Yes, you probably made that. Do you ever write your jokes?
No, I usually in my head. And hey, I want to tell you that they are a lot funnier in my head than the way they come out sometimes. So
yeah, well, that happens. It takes work.
You probably get it.
You're never going to be number one if you insist on being full of number two. See, that's original stuff. Yeah, he's got to do that. It's part of the job. Okay, settle down out there. We're fine. We're almost done. All right. So, anything else you wanna blast him with?
Blast him with?
Yeah, come on.
No, I he does sign my paycheck. So
okay, blast me then. I don't care.
No, I just listening to you guys the whole time, and I absolutely agree with one man, one vote. I do believe that we need to figure out how to keep people from cheating with voting, and outside of that, that's what the big dogs at the state level are for. I'm just at the lowly city level.
You're from the city council, what about all these dances for children only? What is that?
Are you
Excuse me?
The Galactic Gala that was
yes,
yeah. So
no parents allowed.
Yep, that was on there too.
What the hell was that?
Well, I don't know.
You're on the city council.
I do, but that wasn't run through us. That was an event that I believe actually did not take place. The local LGBTQ community was putting on this dance for teenagers. Me personally, I don't agree with it, but that did not run through our parks department, nor did it run through city council. It ran through, I want to say it ran through the center. It all happened very quickly.
Did it happen?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
So
where do you get off saying parents not allowed?
So I don't know. That is a good question, and it raised a lot of concerns.
I got my wife's all over this, and I hear about this all the time.
Right. It raised a lot of concerns. Ironically, I had gone to a training on a Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard about what I proposed to City Council 2 weeks ago, but what we're doing now is we're actually strengthening our policy on background checks within the city. So if you're using a facility like a parks facility, then we're going to be strengthening the background checks a little bit. We already do that for baseball and soccer and softball. And I asked John Butts to reiterate in there one of the state statutes.
City administrator.
Yep,
John
city
Butts.
administrator.
You do.
For those listeners that don't know who he is.
You know what? He just assaulted me. Look at this.
Struck him.
He broke my hand.
I struck him.
Oh, call the cops. Where's the FBI? I'm sorry.
But
I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. But I just asked him to reiterate one of the state statutes that, for organizers and chaperones, that they are mandatory reporters, just in case something does happen. So, and that goes for really anyone.
I don't know if anybody else does this, but I know over in my neck of the woods, at least when I was on school board, the parents were also invited to the prom. Now, none of them showed up. Well, I shouldn't say none of them showed up.
Not the point.
But some of them did show up.
But when you say nobody can be there, that's a parent.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That strikes a real.
But just so we made sure that, we weren't trying to hide something from parents.
Yeah.
We absolutely invited.
Well,
them
you know what?
You're
You're really much better at covering your tuchus than he is.
I know that.
Yeah. Than the city council is.
I'm a little more practiced than he is. But
that's true. That's true. No, you're sitting with a very wise older man.
Hey, I'm learning from him.
Hey, wait a minute.
Not an alderman. Older man.
Yeah.
Wait a minute here.
Wait a minute.
I represent that remark.
God, you're going to insult me, and then you can't take.
I have gone this whole time consciously trying to keep from insulting you.
Is it that obvious? That you want to just tear me apart. When you call me on the phone, the first thing is I have to respond to some kind of an insult, and I have to try to make it funny.
You're an easy target.
There it is.
All
right. On that note, we're all.
JP, have I done?
I've got other guests coming, and I've got to do commercials, and we've got it. This has been a lot of fun. We'll do this again sometime.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe next election.
Thank you. Thanks. Good to see you, Dave.
Josh.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Let's hear it. For the I don't know whether you
Dynamic
guys are related
duo.
or not. Dynamic duo.
Yeah, Batman and Robin.
Yeah, Mayhew and Roman right there. All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
All right, have a great weekend. Okay, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Can I read the board? I haven't gotten a chance to read the board, and then we got to do commercials.
All right. See you later.
All right, see you. Thank you. Okay, what do we got? Shannon Reed, good morning. Hi, Shannon. Great to have you on the show, and anyone else? There it is. Sounding good, looking good. Go team. That's Pastor Pat. Richard Lockwood. Maha is going to change the way we eat. Okay, again, I knew that. What does that mean?
Make America
healthy again. Oh, yeah. And, that has something to do with my last guest. I'm just going to tell you. It's big news with Jeff Zink. I think. Jeff Zink, I think. Hey, it's a little rhyme there. Patricia Oden Maxwell. JJ, thanks for your info on every show. Thank God for you. We love you, and that goes for me as well. And Joseph Dalton, good morning, crew. Good morning, Joe Dalton. All right.
Of course, we did Lockwood's joke earlier, so there's that one again.
Yeah, what's the difference between UFOs and honest politicians? UFOs actually exist.
And just giving a little quick update, because we have Dr. Amy Cooper Hakim and Elad Hakim coming up here shortly. I chatted with or messaged Elad earlier to make sure he got the link and all that.
Yeah.
And he said they had a scheduling conflict. Him and Amy need to switch slots. So it's going to be Elad first, and then Dr. Amy's coming on 10 o'clock.
Oh, I won't allow that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I know.
Oh, that's terrible. I got to flip the page now.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much. Listen, stay with the show. Here come the commercials.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word? But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we are committed to providing exceptional service to our customers. We do more than just provide loans for our community. We help make dreams become reality. Whether it's a new home, farm, business, or a new car, we would love the opportunity to help. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly lending team remind you how special hometown banking can be. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
The sea was angry that day, my friends. Like an old man trying to send back soup in a deli. I got about 50 feet out, and suddenly, the great beast appeared before me. I tell you, he was 10 stories high if he was a foot. As if sensing my presence, he let out a great bellow. A huge tidal wave lifted me, tossed me like a cork, and I found myself right on top of him, face to face with the blowhole. I could barely see from the waves crashing down upon me, but I knew something was there. So I reached my hand in, felt around, and pulled out the obstruction. What is that, a Titleist? A hole-in-one.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us the powerhouse lawyer from Boca Raton in Florida. Was Trump's first choice to replace Gaetz, but he wouldn't answer the phone, the president's phone call. Oh well, there's still the Supreme Court seat, and he's up for it, I'm sure. Please welcome all the way from Boca Raton, Elad Hakim. How are you, sir?
Hi, Dave. I'm well. How are you?
Were you waiting for a phone call after the Gaetz appointment? Because, my goodness.
Yeah. No phone calls for this guy.
Did Trump do this purposely? Was this like the art of a deal? Somebody mentioned that he did this on purpose with Matt Gaetz.
I don't know. I read that also. I read that he kind of wanted to test out his loyalists from the ones that are not so loyal. And this was kind of a measuring stick. I don't know.
Sure, he found out, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely did.
What would you have done if he had nominated you? I'm sure it went through your mind. Don't even tell me. Oh, I wasn't thinking of that.
Absolutely, I was waiting for that call. No, listen, it's a big honor. That's great, and I'm happy. I'm happy.
You're going to turn it down? No.
I'm very happy for Pam Bondi.
Yeah,
she is. It's funny. She's taking everyone from Florida, but she's really good. She's really good. She's knowledgeable. She's experienced. She's tough.
So you know her personally, right?
I don't know her personally, no, but she's good. I know of her.
Yeah,
you know, work in Florida.
She's got a great reputation, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. So there shouldn't be a problem. I mean, Democrats are going to give her a problem, obviously, but there shouldn't be a problem getting her through.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So you don't have any idea that the Matt Gaetz thing was putting somebody up there to find out stuff about who is supporting me or who isn't. That sounds like a real thing that Trump might do. He's that smart.
Yeah, listen, you wouldn't put it past him. He is that smart, and he's learned so much from his first time around, and over the past 4, during the Biden administration. So it's definitely clever.
Yeah. Well, you got Glenn Greenwald out there on X, the Biden DOJ intensely investigating possible crimes by Gaetz after 18 months of looking to destroy him. In the Biden DOJ decided that they couldn't charge him with anything in the case. In other words, I think maybe even Glenn Greenwald was maybe on it too. If you're defending Gaetz, all of a sudden you're creating all this, and to see who's loyal to you in the Senate, that's pretty interesting. Eric Schmidt from Missouri, who I kind of know, I've talked to him on the phone a couple of times. He said that he would have turned it down. Now, was he telling the truth? Do you think do you think a first term senator getting the offer to go and be the DOJ, the head of the DOJ, the FBI, and all that is going to turn that down?
Listen, I can't speak for Eric Schmidt. I don't know whether he's telling the truth.
I see now. I just had a state rep on, Don Mayhew and he's a pretty sharp guy. And he says no, there's no way he would have turned that down. No way. Who would? That's like you're part of history. When you become a Supreme Court justice, you're going to be a big part of history.
Yes, but keep in mind, there are some people who might not want the stress that comes along with that type of job in this type of environment. I mean, look what some of the Supreme Court justices have to endure. I mean, Kavanaugh had somebody with a firearm outside his house. Right. They have, you've got Democrats who are very upset now with Trump's reelection. Being an attorney general, you're going to be up in the limelight a lot, making some very difficult and important decisions. Some people might just not want that. So I can't speculate whether somebody's telling the truth. But
what's the point of being in politics if you're not going to accept a job like that? I mean, that's like being offered the best job in the world. Being president probably is the best job in the world, but certainly it does have its challenges, doesn't it?
100%. 100%. I mean, if you're in politics, if you're involved in politics, then you would think that would be something that someone would want, because it's talk about taking a couple steps up. But I can understand why some people wouldn't want that. Depends on the scrutiny.
Well, FEMA admits that I guess 20 homes were skipped over. I thought it was 40 maybe, because they had Trump signs on them. What do you think of that?
So what am I supposed to think of that? It's
I don't know. I mean, okay. What would you do, for example, if you were, let's say you were the attorney general? Would you maybe find out who did this and indict them?
I would look at whatever legal recourse there is and potentially pursue it. Yeah.
Or would you just go like Biden?
No, chances are I wouldn't. If Biden does something, chances are I would probably do the opposite. Although I don't even know what he's doing recently. Although
I don't think he knows what he's doing either, and I don't think he's doing it.
It's funny because people were saying that he's kind of missing in action, but boy, he's taken some pretty bold moves recently to kind of get us closer to major problems.
Yeah. What could he have done wrong lately? Like within the last couple of days? Let me know what is that?
Well, I don't really talk much about the whole Ukraine-Russia situation, but I'll tell you what, now we've got Ukraine using American-made missiles on Russia threatening now to kind of up the ante. And Biden,
Germany has just signed up 800,000 military. This is how serious it is. And
really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, and you've got North Korea has people on the ground defending Russia. You talk about getting involved in a world war. I mean, this guy's a pro at it. Biden, I'll tell you what. And what's he doing that after an election? What's next? Is he going to resign and have Kamala be the president, just so he could say that she did it?
I don't know. I don't think he's too fond of Kamala, so I don't know if he'd want to give her
anything he can do to screw around.
Well, he's trying to
that
put
makes him the first president to assign a black person the presidency, a woman.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Although, he's also trying to fill the courts, obviously, with additional judges. And, people can't underestimate, they cannot look past that. I mean, the importance of these judges, you've seen it the past 4 years. What happens when you have liberal activist judges in positions in the federal courts? Just pay attention to what's going on and
let me ask you a question. Is that illegal?
It's not illegal for him to appoint the judges.
Right.
No,
so
he can do it.
A Republican could just do the same thing too, right?
Yeah, it just seems to be like
sure.
Stick it to Trump now.
Well,
he lost the election. Trump's taken over, and they're looking to do what they can to make things difficult for Trump.
But unless somebody outlaws that it's, they're also trying to get Sotomayor to quit because she's 70, and they want to put somebody younger in there.
Yeah.
So
good luck with that. Although I think I read somewhere that she basically told him to pound sand.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah. So,
but everything to make it difficult for Trump.
I think I'd get a bodyguard if I was her, though. Quite frankly, Daniel Penny. Are you familiar with the Daniel Penny murder charges? He was on a train in New York City, and a black crazy person was screaming and yelling he was going to kill everybody on the train, and he grabbed him into somewhat of a chokehold, and he died. And now he's in the 18th or 17th day of his trial for manslaughter, of which if he gets convicted, he could have 15 years in jail. This guy's a military guy. Everybody loves him. And it's an interesting trial. Another one by Alan Bragg.
Is it Bragg?
Is it Bragg? Yes.
Listen, I told you for I don't know how long already that the legal system has a problem. The fact that some of these attorneys are able to continue to practice when they are pursuing cases that are ridiculous in nature. They're not even. It's not even. It's not even close. I mean, you've got a case of self-defense in one case. You've got the Trump case that should be dropped. Okay, it should never have been brought. So
which one? They still got Enderon and Megan or whatever is Megan, and you got the one in Willis, Fannie Willis down in Georgia.
Yeah, no, I mean,
doesn't he still? And now has Jack Smith actually resigned from this situation?
So Smith has resigned. Well, he is wrapping down. He's wrapping up the federal cases. He is the Enderon case, if I remember correctly, is on appeal, and I don't think that the appellate court was very favorable of the money, if I remember correctly. And then
$48 million or something.
Yeah, and then the ridiculous Manhattan case, the conviction with Judge Merchan, that should be tossed, and now they're looking to delay it until until Trump finishes his term.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So a president is supposed to be there with a lingering case that's going to be he's going to get put in a jail. How old is he going to be? About 82, 83? That's outrageous. Why should a president have to do that?
So people have to remember, they have to understand that this is the significance of judges. Okay, this is why they're, and whether it's state court, they're not appointed, but this is the danger of having any sort of judge that is that comes across as kind of an activist judge or a judge that has an agenda or a policy. This is the danger. And people kind of hear about, oh, well, Biden's appointing judges, no big deal. It is a big deal.
Sure.
These people, a lot of them are appointed for life.
But it's
all
not
right.
legal.
And we've already seen
what they're
capable of doing.
Yeah.
All right. Why do you think a lot of the appellate judges, for example, no one wants to appeal cases in New York or in DC? Because for all intents and purposes, it's a rubber stamp in favor of the Democrats. So everyone has to understand it's crucial. These judges are crucial.
How close did we come to having a civil war that would have been bloody?
Well, I think we came. I think we came pretty close. If I think that a lot of people were pleasantly surprised with how smooth the election was overall. I think it helps that Trump won in such a convincing fashion. I think that if there were more concerns, and if we had kind of a repeat of what happened 4 years ago, it would have been, I don't know how well Trump supporters and other Republican, voters and a lot of American voters would have taken that. So I think we were really close. On top of looking at just all the rights that were and can continue to be taken away or curtailed, whether it's speech, whether it's Second Amendment, whether it's whatever it is. So we were close. I think that things will slowly begin to calm down. I hope they will. And Trump says something interesting. He says that people calm down when things are good. People unite when things are good. And I hope that he's given an opportunity to do that.
Well, things were good. Things were good when he was the last president, and they got worse and worse and worse. I mean, impeached twice, and then the lawfare. Oh my God, that's terrible. Here's another point. We have had 3 elections in a row now. I think you can safely say now that the 2020 race was stolen. I think you can say that now. Biden getting 81 million votes. Give me a break. Trump got 76 million votes. It was the biggest vote tally that any Republican has ever had in history. So I'm worried about the vote being a constitutional right. Do you believe that a vote is a constitutional right, and having it counted as such is a constitutional right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that there's a concern with disenfranchising voters, and I think that is why so much effort has been put in and has to continue to be put in to the way our elections are run. We spoke about it on many occasions about whether we were concerned about cheating coming up, in this election.
Yeah.
And I, we kind of had the same view. I mean, we were both concerned about it, but I pat myself on the back of this. I tell everyone, I said, listen, I told you guys Trump was going to win I told you he was going to win from 4 years ago.
How did you know that? How did you know that? I know you did.
I didn't listen. No is a strong word. I had faith. And second, because like I said, in 2020, people hated Trump, but they were willing to take a risk on Biden because things were good. I mean, aside from COVID, when we were back on the upswing as Trump's presidency ended. So people could take a chance without too many consequences to them. But fast forward 4 years later, and you see what's going on. People just weren't willing to take that chance. They couldn't take that chance. And I think that was a big difference. They said, listen, we might not like Trump. And by the way, Trump had a completely different approach to his campaign in 2024 than he did in the past.
Exactly.
But people couldn't take the chance.
No. Back in 2016, 2015, he didn't know what he was doing, apparently.
No.
He says so now.
But even in 2020, this campaign that he ran this time around was, for all intents and purposes, pretty much perfect. I mean, he wasn't very combative.
Right.
He stayed on point. He kept hammering home his message and what he wanted to do. And
he reacted so well when they were called, garbage. He was wearing, garbage bags and called. He's going to kick his ass. He's going to kick him in the butt or whatever, and
he
stuff
was
like
less
that.
confrontational.
Driving a garbage truck. That's brilliant stuff. Okay.
His campaign was phenomenal.
And you add in the attempted assassinations. a plural, and I think might have been 3, maybe more. I don't know. But the first one that we know of, anyways, with a bullet that just, I mean, it was an easy shot, is what they say. Everyone knows this is like a 2-foot putt. Or in soccer, it's like kicking a goal with the goal when the goalie's on the ground to the side. Okay, see, I had to do the soccer comparison because I know that's a sport you understand.
Appreciate it.
Anytime. So the question is, how did that happen? You know,
it's listen, it is divine intervention.
Exactly what I'm saying. You know, somebody contacted me on Twitter. I can't remember her. I think it was her name, and she says, you know, this is not something. This is he was ordained by God. Okay, that's what she says, because it matches the Leviticus in the Bible, saying when Moses was with Aaron in the escape from Egypt, God told him to put ram's blood on the right ear and the right hand and the right big toe of Aaron. Well, you saw the pictures of him. He's got the right ear, and he's got blood on his hands, and he probably had blood in his shoes too. It kind of matches up. Isn't that amazing?
That's interesting. It's definitely interesting analogy, and you can't help but think that there's some sort of divine intervention there. I mean, honestly, like you said, the shot was a relatively easy shot. The fact that he moved like a couple degrees.
Yeah, he says he said, I never turned my head to the right. I always turned to the left. He says, is that what's happening? I mean, come on, that's an easy shot. He got him in the head, for goodness sakes. In the ear, glancing off his ear. It's amazing.
The fact that
he's still not only is he still alive, as they pick him up from the ground after knocking him down to make sure there's no other bullets, he comes up and say, fight, fight, fight. That was just amazing. Okay, and you look at that. I wonder if this guy's gonna be in Mount Rushmore if we're still a country by the time this happens. He's gonna be in Mount Rushmore. There's no way about it. What do you think?
What a guy. I mean, yeah, listen, what a guy. Just think about what he has done for the country, what he has sacrificed for the country.
Sure.
You know, you think, if it wasn't Trump, how many other people would have been in jail already? They would have been tried. They would have been in jail. They'd been behind bars with 4 criminal cases.
They would have backed down. I think George Bush is a good example of that. George Bush, the younger Bush, I think they started calling him Nazi, and he kind of faded away. You know, with Trump, it's he is a tough guy. Okay, there's no doubt about that. He's a smart guy. So he's a business guy. I guess Bush was too, to a certain extent, but mostly
it's beyond business to endure what he has endured, and to stand so strong in the face of such vile and vicious attacks. Is you don't really see it. It takes a certain type of stock to do that, and to come out on top. And then to go and to be able to meet with people like those on MSNBC. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, Joe and Micah Scarborough, all of a sudden, after calling him every name in the book, calling him a Nazi, a fascist, a horrible person, and they actually went to Mar-a-Lago. Did they stop by your house, by the way, on the way down?
No, I'm a little further south.
They must have kissed his ring and his shoes and everything else. I mean, it's incredible what they did. And why are they doing it? Because they're getting canned, or they may be getting canned All of them.
They're all tanking.
Comcast is doing a $7.7 billion overhaul of all these anti-Trump stations that they have, and they got 15 of them. They're very powerful. Then you got ABC, Disney, and you've got CNN, CBS. All these people, they're losing their butts right now. Who wants to?
I'm not the type that wishes harm on anybody, but I'll tell you what: some of these people deserve to get canned, and they deserve to have their shows shut down. Some of them deserve to be prosecuted. And I hope that if it's Pam Bondi or whoever it is, go investigate and bring charges or pursue any sort of legal recourse against those who are really engaged in wrongdoing. I hope
you got to be careful with the First Right Amendment. You can say what you please, but I don't think you can. Lie and not have a libel suit against you, at least knowingly.
Aside from the media, which is a joke anyway, I'm talking about the people who engaged in lawfare, the people who. The people who who hid or deleted evidence or refrained from providing exculpatory evidence. Think about the January 6th people who are sitting behind bars.
Exactly. Where is the Supreme Court on that? They need to do something, because there are people held there who are they're hostages. They don't even get to see a lawyer. A lot, who's coming on next is or after your lovely bride is Jeff Zink. His son is still in jail, and they dropped the felonies against him. He's just there because he happened to be standing there with his father, who was running for Congress on January the 6th. Never went in the building, but they lied and they accused him of killing Officer Sicknick. He wasn't even in the building. So that's kind of interesting. Wow. Then you got the Jussie Smollett case, just overturned. Remember him?
Yeah, I read that. I didn't even know why. Do you have any idea why it was overturned?
Yeah, it actually was a legal overturn, according to Judge Janine on the 5. It was actually a legal thing. But it was a prosecutor who was in bed with the guy, sort of almost like the Willis situation, where she was in bed with her top prosecutor. I mean, can you believe this? I mean, okay, they're DEI appointments and stuff like that, but you would think they have a little bit of brains about this stuff. I mean, you don't be sleeping with your top prosecutor that you got.
I don't know, man. Listen, love can cause you to do crazy things.
Oh my God! Wait till I talk to your wife. Well, when does Amy come on? Maybe she should come on right now.
She's coming on soon. I haven't even seen her today.
Oh, well, you can sit in on it.
I'm gonna. No, I can't. Are you kidding? If I sit in on it, then she gets all flustered. I'd rather.
Oh. What else happens? What else happens in your life?
Nothing that matters here.
So when I'm talking to you guys, it's like being on a soap opera almost,
Yeah, no, listen.
She's really good, by the way. She's very bright, and she has you for a husband. Of course, she's very bright.
She has me for a husband. She takes risks.
Wait a minute.
It's not easy.
What kind of risks?
No, listen. Her husband is opinionated. Her husband is.
You're putting yourself in the third sense. Why don't you say me, her husband?
Well, everyone knows. Very opinionated. But listen, you take the person. You get the whole package. You know what I mean? When you get
married,
I
know exactly that. My wife is sitting over there.
Ignoring you.
She's ignoring me now because I had an extra guest come in uninvited.
Oh.
And so she lost her seat at the table. And then she was pissed off. You saw her walking behind me. I didn't do it on purpose. But what are you going to do?
I was not.
Why are you mad at me?
I'm not.
You're not mad. Okay. See,
quit changing the subject.
She's acting mad.
Hi. She can't tell you why she's mad at you on the air.
Huh?
Why would she tell you why she's mad at you on the air?
Why not?
But I'm not even mad.
I'm here to I'm here to entertain. For God's sakes.
Elad, do you do defense counsel? Because Dave may need some help here.
Yeah. Well, show him what she does to me sometimes. Oh. You see that?
I have a conflict.
You have a conflict. Your conflict is coming up in about 10 seconds, according to my stuff. So that should be real. I'll delve right into that with her. So come on.
Yeah, enjoy. She won't tell you anything. She's too smart.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I could have been an attorney. Do you think I would have been a lawyer?
Best decision you made not to be.
And I agree. Believe me. I agree because I've been in court a couple times and I've done really well, and also I've done poorly, but it's too iffy. I'd rather settle something than not go to court, and you get to court sometimes and they say, oh, the judge has a fingernail loose, so he can't come today. So you got to go home and waste all that time.
There's nothing that I'd like better than to get out of the law. So if you ever need a radio host, then let me know.
A radio host?
Yeah, co-host. Remember, with my big mouth, I can guarantee you'll double your people.
With you? Well, maybe we'll work something out someday. I don't know. People. I'm getting old. I'm 76 already. So.
I'm even happy to keep it as a Dave Weinbaum show. I just need a forum.
Well, I'll talk. I don't know. We'll see what we can do. All right. I'm serious. There's something coming up, and maybe we will. But you'd have to kind of be up here to do it. Well,
we'll figure out. We'll figure out a way. There's no way my wife's moving to Missouri. There's no chance.
For sure.
So
yeah,
I don't blame her.
Yeah,
I don't blame her.
Right now, what's the temperature there? Right now, it's sunny and like 65.
Freezing
70.
cold.
Yeah,
no, it's 70 degrees out here. What are you talking about?
What are you wearing? A turtle? Are you wearing a turtleneck?
I'm sorry.
There's a 3 and a 9.
Okay, so other than DaveWeinbaum.net, I had so much to ask about you. By the way, let me squeeze this in. When she's ready, is she going to come in or what? Is she in a different part of the house? Is she in a different part of the house? There she is. Okay. Anyways, I was going to ask you about this Laken Riley's killer. Never had a chance. Is the MSNBC headlines this morning? Laken Riley's killer, the woman that was out there jogging by herself, never had a chance. Can you believe they put something like that?
Sure, I can. They should have gotten the death penalty. I don't know if
they made an agreement though.
Well, I don't know what to tell you about that guy. Poor Lincoln Riley. She goes for a jog, and then they play video in front of her parents when they find out that she was killed. And this guy's going to get life behind bars without parole.
Yep.
Yeah, great.
Crazy.
That's another thing for our legal system. Add that to the Parkland shooter down here in Florida, who also got life. That's our legal system.
Yeah. All right. Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find you and hire you?
You can find me with my wife.
And now you can hire him as a radio talk show host too. I bet
That's
you
right.
she didn't know that.
That I would love that. I love the being on TV or on the radio. I love that.
Okay.
But find me on Twitter or find me on Twitter or on Truth.
When I was a kid, I had the biggest bike in my neighborhood. I outspoked them. Oh well, it's an old joke. All right, thank you so much, Elad. And now I'm going
enjoy. Dave wants us to move to Missouri, and it's like 20 degrees.
No.
Hi guys, thank you.
He said he wanted to be on my show. He says he
I know,
wants
but
to
not
be in
in
show
Missouri.
business.
Do it this way.
I mean, come on, we're Jewish. We got to be in show business. What's the matter with you? He just left. I think he ran away. I don't know what's going on now. All right, so finally you're here. I was planning on you for the last hour. Now we got plenty to talk about. Okay, she is a bad boss expert. MMA, kind of a failure there. She told Tyson to fight her, but he settled for this other guy named Paul. She's an author, a motivational speaker, and the official shrink to the Dave Weinbaum. Please welcome all the way from Boca Raton, Dr. Amy Cooper Hakim. Okay, I've had this has been an active show. And so anyways, Lisa Booth, Fox News. The world has been lighter these past 2 weeks, like a weight lifted off the country. Now you always feel like a 10. Now, so where are you going to go from there? I mean, do you not feel better today than you did a couple weeks ago?
You know, when we first off watched the election and watched the results and saw it coming in and saw that there wasn't going to be what we experienced 4 years back, I was elated and overjoyed. Elad and I stayed up until 3 in the morning. I think he stayed up beyond that, but that was my limit, 3 Eastern, watching Trump. And then waking up that next morning, I did feel so much lighter. Okay. I did feel so excited. I literally woke up and said, thank God. Like, I'm beyond grateful that, that we have a change in direction in the country. And what I think is interesting, is that everyone, whether or not they voted for Trump, is feeling something, because when change happens, change can be difficult, but some people welcome change, like we welcome change in this instance specifically. But even if you were hoping for that Democratic candidate, change is exciting, and there is something new about what can come. And I think that, even those perhaps who either secretly voted for Trump or, weren't even going that direction, I think everyone in this country is seeing a shift.
Do you think a lot of people were secretly voting for Trump?
I mean, the popular vote says it all, right? Yeah. I mean, to me, I think that's major vindication. I was so happy that he was able to get that, because he deserved that, after what he went through before.
He deserved it in 2022, 2020, I should say.
2020, yeah.
2020, but still.
I was just so happy, because then it's almost like you can't contest it, right? There are instances where someone might win from the electoral college, but not the popular vote. And to get both, it's just, I was really happy.
And they get the Senate, and
I mean, we can do amazing things in this country. And I think also it's not just, I think that a huge focus of recognizing how the Democratic Party has shifted is something that's of interest to me. I mentioned to you, I was a Democrat, years prior. And my great aunt Effie, who just passed away at 102 years old, was a Democrat. And that Democrat is a different Democrat than the Democrat we see of today.
What's the difference? What's the difference? I know you know what the difference is.
I think that there were traditional values. There was a feeling of helping the working class, the individuals who are trying to officially live the American dream. I felt that as a part of, hearing discussions when I was a kid about Democrats. And we also, engaged in dialogue with Republicans, but slowly all of my family members shifted to the Republican Party.
That's interesting.
Aside from Aunt Effie. But
about John F. Kennedy. Now, I play golf with a guy who was in the government for a long time, forestry and all that, and he had some really big positions. And he's telling me that he thought John F. Kennedy was a communist. And I said, what are you talking about? I got tapes of him. He didn't sound like a communist to me. He's a sharp guy, though, this guy. So what were your thoughts on John F. Kennedy? And now
you understand everything that you ask me from a political standpoint is solely just my opinion, and I'm definitely not, a political buff.
This is important because this is psychological stuff. So it really is. I don't know how you avoid talking about this.
I understand. I get you.
You understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've convinced you.
Today you don't have to convince me. I'm happy to share, but just again with that understanding that I don't have the knowledge. It's more of just me as a layperson in that instance. But when it comes to, I can talk about leadership in general. And Trump is a particularly effective leader. As we know, he's successful in the business world. But the reason he was a successful president is because even if he didn't know what to do, he knew who to put in place in order to get the job done. Effective leaders don't necessarily do the task all themselves. They just put the right people in place in order to get the job done. And so I don't know enough about Kennedy to be able to say, oh, he's an effective leader. I will say some of the things I've heard come out of his mouth or watched the tapes of, I'm not particularly impressed. However, I think that we have to trust in the judgment of the greater leader, meaning Trump, that he has some insight or some foresight, a vision about what will happen by placing individuals who ultimately almost serve as disruptors.
Well, let me just mention the fact that he has admitted that his in an interview with what's his name, the 3-hour interview he had, that his biggest problem was with people because he didn't know anybody in government, so he was taking advice from people, and a lot of it turned out bad, and he had some bad people working for him who turned out.
Right, but now he's not going to have that. Right now,
he figured it out. He figured out
it's completely different now.
He figured it out. People.
He's coming in strong. He's coming in with a knowledge of what to do and how to work effectively in the White House, what went well and what didn't.
Right.
So he can then make those appropriate changes. So back to the people he's choosing or nominating for these respective positions, whether or not we understand fully, he has this game plan. It's almost like a big whiteboard with, and I'm sure he does have a very big whiteboard with various individuals who are going to serve different roles. And it's like a jigsaw puzzle, right? They all fit together. And we don't necessarily understand some of those inner workings, but if someone is in a position and isn't particularly qualified for it or capable of it or having the experience in order to be there, then they should arm themselves, just like Trump is doing, with people who can do better than he in particular areas. Those individuals should then arm themselves with people who can help on committees, getting feedback so that they can make a difference.
What do you think about the Democrats calling him a Nazi? And I mean, they do that to a lot of people. A Jew hater. He's the grandfather to Jewish children, and his daughter is Jewish, and his son-in-law is Jewish. And the thing going in Israel, the Abraham Accords. That's him.
He made so many positive changes for the country in a very short period of time. And there were issues, okay, but he made so many positive changes, which is why so many of us wanted him reelected. And again, why this is this huge, amazing thing in the sense of there's justice in this world, right? By having him back.
So, did you think it was stolen in 2020?
I don't want to go back there. I do think that there was.
It's important from the sense that he figured it was, and that he actually took special precaution.
And I'm glad he did.
Problems where they were.
100%. I'm glad he did. Yeah. I think it restored our faith in the voting process. By making sure, obviously we want to make sure that issues don't happen. But I think, yes, having, illegal immigrants or aliens vote, having people vote 4 or 5 times, obviously those things are not okay. I don't think that, that should have happened in 2020. And I know it happens in all of the elections.
But it's still happening. I mean,
right. But I think but I like that they had their.
They still haven't finished the count in Arizona.
That's why, again, I was so relieved that he won in the swing states and he won fully without contests. We're not going to say, oh no, this wasn't done right, we need to recount. It was the margins were strong enough and broad enough. So that made me feel really happy. But I think that he's calling it is silly, it's juvenile. Yeah. We're not, in the schoolyard, we're adults and people need to lead by example. And I think it's a shame being a sore loser it's not okay. And also you have to think about the role that social media plays in the way that people form their opinions. Even your friend who was saying, making that other comment, we don't mean to be so focused on what we see on the internet, but it's in our face all the time, right? So if we don't know to fact check and we don't know to pay attention to the actual words of the individual and not pulled out like a slice, for 3 seconds, but actually the whole 2-minute, comment, it can be really, really challenging, especially when it's twisted. And that's something that I enjoy doing. I don't know. I actually flip back and forth between, say, Fox and CNN, or just to see how a slice of news is portrayed, right? It's totally based on the way that we spin it, right? Now, Dave, you're physically wearing glasses, but you see the world through your glasses. They're rosy or they're not. You're seeing something close up or far back. And so we all have our own glasses. We all see the world in our own way. And so we have to take note of where we're getting our information from if we're not having it firsthand. Who is giving us that information and what glasses are they wearing? And I think that the problem is so many Americans or people in general are getting their news from TikTok. They're getting their news from these social media blurbs that aren't vetted, that aren't substantiated.
And they don't change channels. These people do not change channels. The ones that really believe it don't want to. They don't want to hear another voice say anything different. Okay?
And that's why I was so happy. Although of course we know it was staged, but during the Republican conference, I was so happy to see him with his grandkids, to see some of that more personable sides. And yes, they said, put your grandchild on your lap. I mean, we're not going to pretend like that wasn't staged, right? But it did show us that personal side. And for someone who might have clicked for a moment, to see something like that is huge. And also, but I think that
they get shocked when they see that, so they don't want to see it. They don't want to believe.
I think that, and that's where we get back to the secretive part, right? I think secretively, many people either chose not to vote for Kamala or voted for Trump and didn't tell others. I think we probably had more people coming out of the woodwork and saying, I'm voting for him, right? Because this is silly. This is just ridiculous. And anybody
a lot more than happened previously.
Well, thankfully.
Yeah. And well, here's another thing. Should there be a law preventing transgender boys being in bathrooms and gym lockers with women athletes?
Yeah. I mean, I think so. But I am so.
Why is this such a big deal for Democrats?
Scared.
Why don't they just say, get your own bathrooms?
Well, because it's not practical from a public funding standpoint or whatever to have that. But it's an easy solution. An easy solution could be a family bathroom, a multi-gender bathroom, those single stalls. And you have that one bathroom, and anybody who doesn't feel comfortable going into the men's bathroom or the women's bathroom can use that. But I personally would not feel comfortable with my teenage daughters. And I just think that it's scary. And I feel for individuals who don't fit that mold. And that's what I think that the Democratic Party did really poorly, was focusing only on that, because so many people just say, no, that doesn't make sense. Like, I don't want my daughter playing a sport with somebody who's much stronger and physically able to potentially hurt her. Then she's not going to want to play sports. So how is that having, this freedom for all kind of thing? Yeah. Yes, we want to make sure that people feel comfortable regardless. We want to make sure that people feel welcomed regardless. We want to make sure that they have their basic human rights met regardless. But that shouldn't be when we are making others who are the main gender within that, the main individuals within that gender being able to do basic things safely.
I forget her first name, but this gal's last name is Riley, and she was a swimmer, and I gave her some money. And Gaines. Yeah, Riley Gaines. Okay. And she was a swimmer that got beat by a huge male who turned female. Okay, a transgender, and by golly, she's made a big difference. I think she's going to be an amazing spokesman. She already is a spokesperson for this, and she's going to go far. What do you think?
I don't know the name of the senator who said that he didn't want that for his daughters, the Democratic senator. I think that we need to have
election,
people,
I think.
we need to have people who are going to speak out and just speak for basic human function, basic human needs, morality.
To your point, you have the separate bathroom for transgenders.
Yeah, but that's not practical, Dave.
It's being done. And okay. If they insist on doing it, you can't let them into the women's bathroom.
Right. So I think it could be that multi-use bathroom or something like that. But it can't just be here's a transgender bathroom, and that's.
I've never heard of a multi-use bathroom.
Yeah, multi-use bathroom. I mean, when I had my kids and they were young, and I needed to bring 5 of them, everybody into one thing. We all went into one of those big door ones, not a stall thing. It was a separate functioning bathroom. They're all over the place. A family bathroom, a multi-use bathroom.
I'm gonna have to flush this story because I don't want to go any deeper into it.
But I'm bummed.
I don't think you want to either. Okay.
No, I'm just saying it happens. You need to bring everybody in with you. So they have those kind of bathrooms in establishments. So just have more of them.
Now, with our country being invaded by all the maybe 15 million illegal aliens in this country, and a lot of them are known criminals in their own countries. Do you feel like pressure when you go outside at all and take a walk, or your daughters? Do you have a lot of angst about them getting in a problem area with somebody that might hurt them?
I mean, thankfully, no. Where we live in Florida, it's not an issue. I have a number of friends who came from Cuba, and many years back as refugees, and went through the process properly.
Right.
Are full citizens and Republican, by the way. But I think that we need to have. We need to make sure that we offer asylum as needed and appropriately. That's part of what America's all about. But that's within reason. I think that the way that it's gotten out of hand, and if you look in New York City, like hotels are taken over, and I know it's not just there. But I think we have to be careful also not to label all, what did you say, 15 million as criminals. I'm sure there's just a select sliver of them who are. So we have to be careful with the way that that's, relayed. But yes, I think that we need to get this right, and I'm glad that Trump's going to do so.
But if they're coming in,
it's very telling, though. It's very telling that people who might have extended family who could be negatively impacted by Trump's very strong message, we're still saying we support that because we have to put America first. We have, just like on an airplane, you got to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. I think being humanitarian, offering aid, offering support, relief, whether it be within our own physical land or outside, is beautiful, and it's a great part of being a human being and a giving individual. And I think having, knowing that America has the back of other countries like Israel, that's support, right? But we have to first take care of ourselves, and I think that's what Trump's going to do. Trump's going to right the pendulum swings. And it went one way, and it's going to come back and land in the middle.
Now, you mentioned that as a Jewish person, you were in the Democratic Party for a while, and so were a lot of your friends and family. Now they've moved over, per se, but Trump only got like half the Jewish vote, which is a big increase, by the way.
Yeah, but I don't.
However, how do Jews now explain being Democrats anywhere?
I think that they don't see the bigger picture. And that means maybe perhaps that they are not focused at all on things other than themselves. And they're maybe stunted in where they are in life. I don't know. It blows me away. I'm so grateful. I mentioned that our son, Michael, is at the University of Florida for college. And that's a comparatively safe environment. There was still an issue not too long ago where there were swastikas put on whiteboards in the dorm, like on a floor in the dorm. It was handled. If rocks are thrown, it's handled. But that it shouldn't be that way. And what we saw happening in Amsterdam, this should not be happening.
Right.
So it's terrifying. And I think just the wave of anti-Semitism on the college campuses is it's really scary. And it definitely impacted where we have our now senior daughter applying for school. She's only going to places we could consider safe.
So she's just going into college, right?
She'll be going into college in the fall. Yeah, hopefully.
Right. Well, she comes from very smart parents, I'll tell you that much. I want to read the board here because I've got to go. I've got Jeff Zink coming on, but some of this is pertinent to what we're talking about right now. So Kathy Sanford Dillon, do you think Kamala would take over if Biden passed preventing Trump from entering the presidency if World War III begins? That's interesting. Yeah, that's how do we answer that one?
I actually don't think there's enough time for all that to happen. I think Kamala's gone. She's out. She's old news.
She's in Hawaii right now.
Yeah, we're done. We're done. I wish her well. Yeah.
All right. I feel the real Democrats in control will do anything to prevent Trump from taking office, like Biden giving the okay to strike Russia.
I think Biden. Yeah. I think Biden's just trying to save face a little bit as he also goes into the background. Nothing's going to happen. It's set. It's done. And now I think, Democrats were shaken in their boots and really sad and taking days off from work and school to mourn. And now they're going to have to put on their big boy or big girl pants and just deal with it and make their party stronger so that it can be a healthy competition in 2026 and in 2028.
Well,
that's what we live in. We live in a democracy. Different ideas are welcomed.
Buddy Wolf, now we have one in Congress. One what?
Talking about the transgender. See, that came in during that conversation.
And a gal named Mace. She took her down. They have a rule now that she can't go to the bath. That she cannot go into the bathroom in the house.
Oh wow! But there's an issue with that. See, that's not fair. Also, we have to have a solution, and that's why I was saying that multi-use bathroom could be a perfect solution. Even if it's one bathroom in a building instead of one bathroom on every floor.
Kathy Sanford Dillon again. I feel there are a lot of Democrat voters that have been lifelong Democrats and still believe the unions are the same as they once were 30 years ago and choose to overlook that their party is faulty just to say they're a Democrat and loyal to their party. Then complain later about their crappy sky-high medical insurance. So
people sometimes aren't able to just say, this is not good. We need to fix it. And I'm so happy when I see that things are good.
Final one, Andrea Schrum. I just read a post on Telegram that said in Florida, human traffickers are putting strips of paper faced with fentanyl, strips of paper laced with fentanyl on the windshields of cars. Then when the woman touch it to remove it, they become unable to flee, and the traffickers are waiting to grab them. Have you heard this?
Oh my goodness.
Well,
I hope that's not so.
Maybe look it up somewhere. Maybe
could fact check that.
Google it or something. Yeah, all right, listen, I got my next case coming, and other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find you, buy your book, and hire you? You are a motivational speaker, right?
Yes, I help employees and employers get along better. My book, Working with Difficult People, is sold anywhere books are sold. It's in ebook and audio format as well. My website is cooperstrategiccgroup.com or amycooperhakim.com. And I'm on all the social media outlets, although I'm not as active as I could or should be, because as you know, it's not my favorite.
Dr. Amy, they say age is just a number. But how many 150-year-olds do you party with?
Cute.
I want to know. Did you ever recommend to somebody that, age is just a number?
I like to think that it's a privilege to grow older and to deal with whatever comes. That's how I'd like to.
That's a good answer. Thank you so much for being a guest and a very, very interesting duo with your husband Elad and all your family. Maybe someday we'll meet. I don't know. It's been like 10 years.
It's been a while.
Thank you so much. You have a great weekend and take advantage of that Boca 75, 80 degree.
Cool. It's cool out.
All right.
Shabbat shalom. Bye.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. And now we have our next guest. Woo, it's just plugging. You know what? I enjoyed the songs because give me a chance to breathe. You know, all right. Speaking of breathing, though, this gentleman here he is a kinesiologist. He's a pastor. He's a politician. He's an expert on forensic election audits. He was at the 1/6 event in 2021. Please welcome, all the way from Phoenix, Arizona, Jeff Zink. Okay, so you got any news for me?
I do. I happen to be on. I put my application on the website for MAHA, which is Make America Healthy Again. And I've asked people to go and vote and to chat and ask questions and everything, and people have responded enough that with through some of my connections and everything else, I received an email from Robert Kennedy Jr.
Wow.
And I was able to take basically what it was an IQ, aptitude, and vocabulary test. Evidently, I did well enough because I've gone through the first round of evaluations. I actually had an interview. And so I'm on the short list of being on Mr. Kennedy's cabinet, which will take on people like Bill Gaetz, the CCP, the processing, manufacturing, and processing of our food, our vaccines. We're going to be looking into, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, and how they handled the vaccines, the mask, and everything. We're going to be investigating a lot of things, and we're going to have to hit the ground running. So I'm supposed to find out about the second round, which means that it will be between me and maybe one or two other people there. But there's like 4 or 5 of us that are being considered for the Secretary of Health for HHS.
I'd like to ask you who I could call for this, but I you know what? I don't think Trump likes to be bothered about this from the outside. I don't get that. Although,
well, actually, I have already had the Senate representative with North Dakota. We have a mutual friend of ours that is a real good friend of mine and real good friend of the senator. Yeah. And he was on the plane with President Trump going out with Elon Musk to watch the rocket launch.
Yeah.
And
they were all eating McDonald's.
Yes.
I got a picture of that on my show site.
Absolutely. Well, he was able to sit and talk with President Trump about me and hopefully put in a good word. And so hopefully I'm on the not on the short list, but I'm actually I'll be able to tell you at some point that I am the Secretary of Health for HHS.
That would be amazing. All right, that would be so great. And I pray that happens. I really do pray about it. And I told folks this story about me being in bed on Monday night, and suddenly I'm looking at, it's pitch black, and I'm looking at my phone, just waking up, sort of thing, and your name is there. I'm trying to figure out, what the hell's that? Did he butt call me or something? And then I'm looking for the phone. I can't find it in the bed. It's on the counter where I put it every night, and it's not on the bed. And I'm saying, wait a minute, what is this? I wasn't going to call you for that show because I figured I'd give you a break. And so then that's when I had to call you and said, I think I just got a message. about you, and hopefully God is going to follow through. This morning it was. I heard the doorbell ring, the front doorbell ring, and it was like about 4:40 or 4:30 or something like that. I had my alarm clock set at 4:40, and it was before it. So I said, well, you might as well get up. And I'm thinking, who the hell's going to be ringing my doorbell, and how did I hear it? Because it's kind of far away, you know.
I wasn't at the door, was I?
That takes you to a whole different level, buddy. We got to watch out for that. He has stayed with me in my house, and my wife. I should add that too. Buddy Wolf, congratulations, Jeff. Congratulations from Buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
And so, anyways, all right, that's very interesting. So you'll know in a couple of weeks, but time is getting short. They got to get these things. Would you have to go before the Senate?
Because of some of the appointments and everything, and this one being one of them, I would have to go before the congressional hearing and be vetted out. And I've always made this statement. I don't know who she was. I don't know where she was, where we were, and I don't know what time it was, but I'm sure that the Democrats will come out and say that I've had an affair with somebody with it, because that's what they've done with Pete Hegseth. That's what they did with Matt Gaetz, and the thing is that this is the MO that they do in trying to smear, good people and stuff. But what's really funny is that, again, if you're playing with President Trump chess, you need to understand that he plays, 10 or 15 positions ahead of whatever's in front of you. And the thing is that marching Matt Gaetz out and taking all the heat, and then running Pam Bondi in behind him, where she's going to do that. And the thing is that she is more aggressive. And I think, I don't know if Matt.
She is a prosecutor.
She is.
Gaetz is not.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why I say she's going to be a lot more aggressive. She's going to know and how to handle. And the thing is that what people need to understand, we're not going to be trying these, senators and congressmen and people that committed treason in this country in our court systems. We're going to be doing this through military tribunals, which is a totally different setup. And the thing is that you're either guilty or not guilty. There's no plea deals. There's nothing that happens. Basically, if you get sentenced for 20 years, you're going to serve 20 years in a military prison, which is not anything like what our paid prisons are here. And so the thing is that we're going to take this out of the hands of the corrupt judicial system until we can get somebody over the DOJ that will clean house and actually start doing it. But that also means that we have to go after the federal judges, the prosecutors that prosecuted the J6 people and went after innocent people and had them locked up, like Enrique Torres, who was on a plane. Enrique Torres.
I talked to his mother now. His mother. Yeah,
he
was on a plane. And is he still in Kentucky, I guess?
Yes, and he's there for 30 years. On a plane, heading to Miami.
Yeah, he was
not even in January 6th, not even in the city limits, nowhere, not even in the state. And he's sitting in prison for his role in the J6, which he didn't have a role.
Yeah. Well, these are political. Your son too. They're political hostages.
Correct.
And, so, what do you think Trump found out with the Gaetz situation? Did he not find out something about the senators?
Well, he's the great thing about putting Pete Hegseth and Matt Gaetz out there.
Yeah.
He literally found out who the players are that are going to go against him. And that's great information to have. You know, you always say that you want to keep your friends close, but you keep your enemies closer.
Yeah.
Well, he just found a whole list of enemies that he now needs to, you know, keep close, understand who they are and what they're and how they're playing the game. And again, if you give a chess master a chance to understand what your playbook is, he will beat you every time. And that's exactly what is being played out right now. And what, the thing is that if you're looking at all of the appointments and the people that are being appointed and being looked at, these are all disruptive people. They're all people that have that want to follow the rule of law, not the color of law, but the rule of law. And they want to make sure that this country follows our Constitution, just as our founding fathers said. And every one of those appointments, every person that they're trying to put in fits in that category.
So what do you think about the Pan Bondi move? Was that a pre-planned thing, do you think? I mean, because that just set them, I mean, what a great setup that was to have.
Yeah, and that's what I said earlier. I think that it was perfectly.
Pam Bondi there, and nobody. Who's going to say anything against her?
No, and that's exactly right. And they already knew about Matt Gaetz and the allegations that they already had beforehand. Right. So when it came out, it wasn't a surprise. It's just that we were not necessarily surprised of the senators and the congressmen that came out, but it was something that they were outed. And so that was one of the things that, again, if you know who the Judas is, then you know how to deal with that person. Right. And so now we know that who our Judases are, and we got a couple of more things that are going to be coming out. And so for myself, you know, what I'm trying to do is I'm hoping that before Thanksgiving, I get the second interview and be told that, you know, I'm going to be hired. And that, you know, one of the very first questions they ask is was I willing to relocate to Washington, D.C.? And there was no hesitation. I said, absolutely. And she goes, wow, you didn't even ask if you needed to talk to your wife or anything like that. And I said, no, I ran for Congress. We were planning on being in Washington, D.C. anyway. So for me to say that, we had already talked. So this was not something that I had to go back and ask or weigh, what do we want to do? We were already planning on being in Washington, D.C. as a congressman.
So you talked to Robert Kennedy on the phone, right?
No, I have not. I have talked with his transition team.
Okay.
And so one of the things that President Trump has done is he has assigned a small group of people, about 3 or 4 people, that are vetting out all of the people that are being in his cabinet. Bobby Kennedy has 3 or 4 people, and one of which I've already talked with. Now my name has been turned over to the transition team itself. She's part of that team, and they're looking at the short list of people, and that's 3 to 5 people that are being looked at right now. And then they're going to get back to us and let us know, you know, what that situation is. And then hopefully you'll say, hey, I need you to be, on there. And I'm going to say, well, I'm either on a plane or I'm going to be in DC in meetings, and I'm going to be doing that. And that will give you a clue that I've got, that I've got the second level, and I'm going to be moving forward.
For me, I've always considered you to be a great guest because you got so many different things about you. I mean, you're a pastor, you're an ex-football player, basketball ref, kinesiologist. I love saying that. I don't know what the hell it is, but you're just an all-around an all-around guy, and also you know a lot about these elections. You are an expert at forensic audits of elections, and you've seen what's happened.
Oh yeah,
you could be so effective if you ever get to talk to Trump about what really is happening out there, especially right now in your home state of Arizona. Or
well, one of the things is, and I'll send you the link. But I actually went to the Board of Supervisors meeting on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I served them notice, because basically what I told them is that, while they've been patting themselves on the back and they've been saying that they've done such a great job of our elections, at that time on Wednesday, we were 15 days past
the
election. And we're still counting ballots.
What are they congratulating themselves on?
Well, that they've done a great job. The problem is that we're the laughing stock, because I pointed out to them, I said, while Texas and Florida, twice the size and 3 times the size, respectively, have already finished counting their ballots. And we are still counting the ballots right now. And the thing is that for the past 3 elections, the split between the Democrat and the Republican that has run against the Democrat, Ruben Gallego and now Yasmin Ansari, has been 70-30 in all 3. Now, 70-30 in 2020, 70-30 in 2022, and 70-30 in 2024. But let's look at the facts. The facts are that when we were looking at early voting from October 9th all the way up to November the 5th, okay, we had when we had the election, Republicans outvoted the Democrats for the first time in Maricopa County's history.
Wow.
They've never early voted the Democrats, but we did that this time on election day.
What does that tell you?
Well, but here it gets better. And so I said, 40% Republican turnout on election day, 39% on independents, and 21% Democrats. Now, Democrats have poorly showed up in early voting, and then they didn't show up on election day. So when they made the first drop to everybody that was outside of Arizona was shocked, because every Republican was behind. Every one of the Democrats here in Arizona were leading when it dropped. Now, how do you explain that? And these are questions that I presented to the Board of Supervisors. And I said, before you go and tell me that the 39% independents voted Democrat on election day, let me remind you that 78% of the population in America says that we were going in the wrong direction. The other is that 68% of the Latino population walked away from the Democratic Party. 64% of my families, the constituents that I would represent here in Congressional District 3, are part of that poll. And so you can't tell me that I did not get a bump in the amount of votes that I got.
Makes no sense.
Okay, so one of the things is I told them, I said, all right, guys, President Trump and Elon Musk have vowed to look into election fraud.
Mm-hmm.
So I would highly suggest that you talk with your attorneys, spend time with them.
Better get your stories together.
And then when we come after you and everything else, because we, the people here of Maricopa, are tired of your lies and the games that you keep playing here in Maricopa County.
Sure. So you're thinking about a lawsuit. Now, let me ask you a question. When you vote, Is that not a First Amendment right to have the ability to vote also, and to have that vote counted and mean something?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, why is there not an amendment to that law specifying the vote? That ought to be at least an amendment to that situation where it comes that you get immediate recognition of your vote, and if there's something that's going wrong, you can make a claim at the Supreme Court and have it heard immediately. Instead of the problem you get is that after the election, it's too late.
Well, one of the things. So one of the things that we had going on here was the AZGOP had attorneys and we had the phone number out for every polling person that was observing. And when they found discrepancies, if they found something that was nefarious, they were able to call them immediately, have an attorney show up at that polling place. You know, we had people that when I was doing election engineering here, because that was something that you can do here legally in Arizona. So I had a voter guide, very quick. It had all the propositions and everything else. So some of the other things that was very, very interesting that I pointed out. How is it that Ruben Gallego at one point had more votes than Donald Trump? Now, when we made this public, they corrected it very quickly.
Oh, really?
Because all of a sudden you had more votes for a senator than you had for the president, and the president's winning, and so you can't, so it's these types of things that we were pointing out. The other is this: how is it that 200,000 more votes for killing children all the way up to partial birth abortion? All right, meaning that the head is now protruding out. They go in and sever the spinal cord and kill the baby and then deliver the child. That's what partial birth abortion means. Murdering a child that could have lived on its own, but is murdered by the physician. This passed. And you can't tell me that 1.7 million people that voted for Donald Trump, you have 1.9 million people voting for abortion and killing children. So again, these numbers do not make sense. You have, and just now, Carrie Lake has more than 20,000 votes than Kamala Harris and stuff. And so again, if you take the combination there, that all of these numbers that we're looking at, so we are already looking into it. We're going to be filing PRRs and FOIAs. We're going to get the data. What's really interesting is that one candidate has already done a PRR and has been told no because the cast vote records are they don't have access yet. When the Board of Supervisors, when they sign the contract with Dominion says that the cast vote records are able to be audited and are supposed to be given out to we the people for us to take a look at. Now, if Dominion does that, what does that tell you? That they have been manipulated already. And the thing is that I keep saying and picking a fight with Dominion on a regular basis, not just on your show, but on other shows. And I call them out and I want them to take me to court. Please, please, please file a lawsuit against me, because I can assure you I'm going for discovery and I will expose everything that's taking place.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I can't believe it. It keeps happening, and the 1/6 thing is connected to it because that's the sham they use to shove it up. You know what? To claim that we're somehow the enemy because you cheated in the elections. You cheated in this election. Look at Pennsylvania. I mean, they've got people in charge of their election saying that we know it's a constitutional law here in Pennsylvania, but we don't care. Everybody breaks the law, so we're just going to count the votes whether they have the proper identities and things like that or not. So,
well, we've got a lawsuit that's coming for specific that we know for a fact that illegals voted in our elections. And, the thing is that, Donald Trump has made the statement that he's going after judges and prosecutors that do not follow the rule of law. And so this is very, very important because, beforehand they said, well, in Kerry Lake's case with Katie Hobbs, who was a Secretary of State running for governor, and she was overseeing the counting of the ballots.
Right.
Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing going on here. No corruption whatsoever.
And now she's saying she's not going to cooperate when they come take these same illegal aliens out. How's that going to work out for her?
Well, she doesn't want them to leave because she utilizes them in order to stay in office. Once we do this, a Democrat will never be elected again, because if we do paper ballots, hand counted at the precinct level, the results the next day, just like Texas and Georgia and Florida and so many other states that do it and do it correctly, they're not going to have Democrats elected, and they know that. That's the reason why they're so upset about what's taking place. But this time, what we're hoping is that President Trump is now going to be serious. He said he was going to, lock her up, referring to Hillary Clinton and the other people. Well, the thing is that not only has he had 2 assassination attempts, but a lot of other people don't know about the other 4 assassination attempts that he had that has not really come out public.
Wow.
And so the thing is that he
had 6 assassination attempts, according to you.
Well, there've been more than that, but these are ones that through my sources have stated that this is what has been taking place. And so, it's really interesting. We need to sit down and look at this, and we need to hold accountable. Now, the thing is that if you're innocent, then we don't want anything to change your life. We want you to be a productive citizen in the United States. But if you've broken the law and you are illegally in this nation, then what we're going to do is we're going to go after the governors that will not cooperate.
Sure.
And that means that they'll be prosecuted and removed. They can always be replaced with somebody else that will do the job. And the other is that the AGs had better get on board and start getting ready to go, because the fact is that if they don't, then they will also be prosecuted and removed. So we're now changing the face of what's taking place. Either follow the rule of law, resign and get out and allow somebody else to do the job that you won't do or can't do. And then we're going to reestablish America, and we're going to make America great. We're going to make America healthy again, and we're going to get back to the voice of the people. And that's the disrupting. That's what people are wanting. This is what they want. People like President Trump. That's why they voted him in office. That's why Robert Kennedy came on board, because he basically said the Democratic Party, he's always a Democrat, but the problem is the Democratic Party left him. He didn't leave the Democratic Party. The same with Tulsi Gabbard. With Tulsi, she is not a Russian asset like they keep smearing. She served her country. She's one of the greatest people, and we need to support her.
Yeah. So this is all so amazing. And you say there's going to be a military trial,
tribunal.
How do you know that? Where's that been said? Is it
well, that's following the rule of law. So if you want to take care of federal employees and federal elected officials, you don't do it in the court system. You do it in the military system.
Okay. You know, I just can't. I hope Donald Trump is listening to this. That was my concept, was that you're going to be in meetings with Donald Trump and Robert Kennedy, and you're going to be able to tell him about this election stuff. I don't know if he knows that about you. Hopefully somebody told him. And if he's listening to this show, you got to get this guy on. All right. Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find and contribute? And I got 30 seconds.
Right now, my campaign is shut down, so there's no contributions that are actually taking place at this point, but you can help my son at giftsandgo.com/Ryan Zink. And we have well over $300,000 worth of attorney fees that we're having to, we're trying to, pay for.
I'm out of time. Thank you, sir. Have a great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you.